February 31st, Triangle Area Bojangles will donate all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry, do some good, and get something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed-rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, lowest in years. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time. Or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get cash out of your equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards and some car loans and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now and see what option works best for you. But don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks, and you may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal with no hard credit pull. Call 919-381-1760 now, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health-friendly workplace.
So what can I do to help?
As a CEO, I can set the tone for a supportive culture.
As a manager, I can offer assistance and accommodations.
As a coworker, I can be a source of support.
As someone with a mental health condition, I can ask for what I need to perform my best.
What can I do?
What can I do?
I can remind others that none of us are alone.
And that we all benefit from workplaces that promote good mental health.
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A high of 60 this afternoon. It's nice and mild out there, but we do have rain that begins mid to late afternoon. That continues tonight and into the day tomorrow. 37 tonight, so we're above freezing, and then we'll see a high near 54 tomorrow. We are still on track for a winter storm. We have a winter storm watch that's in effect for this weekend. This is truly looking like an ice storm, which means we'll have widespread power outages, so get prepared to lose your power.
This hour of the drive brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you contact your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 314 points to 49,391.
Sends it out of a double team to Luka Bogovac. Open look for 3, nothing but net. Luka splashed that one home beautifully. Bogovac 1-on-3, able to get it to Powell. He'll cross the court with the pass to Evans for the triple from the right side. Young holding left wing, gets it to Wilson. Lobs a pass up top to Basar. Extra pass to Dixon. 3-pointer's good. Basar's Caleb Wilson takes the ball away from Serta, and here we go. There's the highlight from Wilson. Cocks it back and throws it down.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan on a Thursday. If you're like everybody around here, you're probably thinking about the weather this weekend. That seems to be what everybody's talking about. 2 things, actually. I would say UNC getting a much-needed win last night, and the weather. That's the 2 things we're talking about.
And then Canes tonight, make it 3.
Canes tonight, I think, is just bubbling now. Everybody's just going, all right, do we get the non-perishables? Do we have batteries? Okay, cool. Let's focus on the Canes. Like we're just getting there. They're playing tonight. Chicago. Connor Bedard's in town. Should be a fun one. We will update you on some schedule updates. I promised you yesterday that as we hear them, you'll hear them. The ACC is making some schedule changes. So I'll do this before we get to the big 3 at 3. Wake Forest at Duke men's basketball moved from 5:45 p.m. tomorrow to noon tomorrow. If you have power, it'll be on the CW. North Carolina's game at Virginia has been moved from 2 p.m. to noon, so they're bumping that up 2 hours. NC State's game at Pitt will remain at noon, but it'll be on a different network. It'll be on ESPNU. And then they also moved the Virginia Tech-Louisville game up about an hour and a half, if you were interested in that one.
Did you say tomorrow for Duke Wake?
Did I say that incorrectly?
Yeah, it's Saturday.
Oh, my bad. All this is Saturday, correct?
Yeah, all these are Saturday.
That's what I was talking about. I didn't mean tomorrow if I said tomorrow. Wake Forest's game at Duke on Saturday moved from 5:45 to noon. All of that was Saturday. I don't know what I said. Sometimes I get lost. Hot start to the show. Let's get out of schedule updates. Obviously not ready for those. And let's get to something we're more used to, like the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
North Carolina beat Notre Dame last night by a bundle. This was one that was over early as far as the outcome. It was just about how it's going to play out. Final score ended up being 91-69. I said yesterday that how they won was as important as that they won, and I think they checked all boxes. They still had dominant performances, double-double from Vasar, another 20-point performance from Caleb Wilson. But what I liked about it even more is Notre Dame is not necessarily a great team right now, okay? You look at the ACC stats, they're one of the worst offensive teams. They're not particularly big. They're losing games. And UNC did what they should do against a team like Notre Dame. They won by a bundle, and they were able to address some of the concerns that had been building up over the last handful of games. That doesn't mean they've solved them, okay? But it means they used it to try some things. Their starting lineup for the second straight game had Derek Dixon, also had Jaden Young, who has really not played a ton of minutes this year. And you know, I've talked about this with Hubert Davis. There needed to be tangible changes. There needed to be experimentation, and there needs to continue to be that. Right? Things looked rough enough that if you didn't change things, it would make everybody restless. So, you know, giving Jonathan Powell some minutes after his playing time had dipped significantly. And you don't want to say this is part of it, but they've limited Kyan Evans. They've limited Jaron Stevenson and his minutes in ways that they weren't doing earlier in the year. And again, something had to happen, and you knew it wasn't going to be Wilson and Vasar, and probably not Seth Trimble with everything he means to the program. So those other two spots were the space to experiment, and they did that. Now, it worked against Notre Dame. I honestly believe they could have used a bunch of different lineups against Notre Dame, and it would have worked, especially if all of those lineups include the two big guys. But they play Virginia next, and we're going to see how much this Notre Dame game actually kind of served its purpose, which was, you know, making them, first of all, distance themselves from the West Coast swing and figuring out who you can trust more on the perimeter. But a 91-69 in-conference win, that's always going to be something you're proud of. That's number one. Let's get to number two.
Number 2.
Carolina Hurricanes, Chicago matchup tonight at 7. You can hear it right here on 99.9 The Fan, by the way. You can also catch it on the 99.9 The Fan app, which you can download in the Google Play and App Store whenever you see fit. Please give us 5-star ratings. Eric Robinson out for a while, I think is kind of the story of the last few days. He is one of those players, and I've referenced him in this way, like described him in this way a bunch of times. He is a player that you don't realize what he brings to the table maybe until he's not in the lineup, and then you're like, where's that guy? He's been productive. He's been scoring. He obviously brings a level of skating ability and speed that the lineup benefits from. So with him out, it becomes an interesting conversation about, you know, how they replace that. Is it Jesperi Kokaniemi's opportunity to, make he's had a lot of impressions, but another one, right? Get an opportunity to get right one more time. We'll see how it plays out, but obviously I think that absence matters. Looking at the matchup, and we'll have to talk about this throughout the show, and we do have, by the way, first goal scorer predictions coming up at 4:33. So, over an hour from now, but start thinking who scores the first goal for the Canes and in what period do they score it. There are only 6 teams in the NHL below 500 right now. One of them is Chicago, but they do have Bedard. And
Logan's better.
Logan's better. Bedard's averaging 1 1/3 points per game. And if you look at Chicago, I don't want to say it's Bedard and the Pips because that's disrespectful to a bunch of other guys, but nobody on Chicago other than Bedard, who has played more more than 20 games, we'll call it, has a positive plus minus. Bedard does, but nobody else on the roster that's played at least 20 games has a positive plus minus. And that shows what you're dealing with, right? You have one guy who's seen as one of the futures of the league, and you have a team that's trying to put it together. Meanwhile, you look at the Carolina Hurricanes, and they're seen as a deep roster, right? They're seen as every line is challenging, all these things. You should be able to grind this team. You should be able to lean on them and land body blow after body blow until eventually you pull away. We'll see. I also, and this has been one of my recent bugaboos with this team. I know some people think all I do is complain. I just like to check boxes. I'm always greedy. I always want more. I have high expectations. The Canes are riding something good right now. Extend it, right? Right now their season has never been too good or too bad, right? Their longest win streak is 5 games. Their longest losing streak, 3 games, right? It's always been right there. They're currently riding a 4-game win streak with a lot to like happening during that win streak. Keep it going, right? Keep it rolling. Or actually, I think they're going for a 4th. I want to make sure I get that absolutely correct. I've already messed up once today. They are riding a 3-game win streak, going for the 4th tonight. Go get it. Go get it. Keep it going. Let's put an 8-game win streak together, right? Let's do something like that to prove a little bit more consistency. Especially, I know that I started talking about the Robinson deal, but for the most part, your stars are healthy right now. Keep it rolling, and actually, let's keep it that way. Seth Jarvis, apparently, he was pretty clumsy at practice the other day. A couple of crashes into the boards, and Rod was like, "Go, just get out." What are you doing? He was asking for the power play. That was number 2. How about number 3?
Number 3.
Duke football fans. I feel for you. Cooper Barkate, it was revealed last night, their 1,000-yard wide receiver in the transfer portal, which is fascinating because, I always say, like, at the trade deadline, if the trade deadline's at 4 p.m., keep your antennas up till like 5:15 because, you could file a trade and then the insiders don't get wind of it until, half hour later. The transfer portal window ended Friday at midnight. This was learned by us on Wednesday. How? Well, it turns out, once a player requests to their name in the transfer portal, they request it to their current school. Their school then has 2 business days to actually put it in to the portal, and then so it just kind of delays everything. So, by my estimation, Cooper Barkate put his name in the portal Friday, well after Darian Mensah's whole situation of his name going in the portal and the ensuing lawsuits and everything. After that news was known, and then obviously his team would have 2 business days, which if it happened Friday after business hours, you didn't get all day Monday, you get all day Tuesday. Either late Tuesday or first thing Wednesday is when they'd have to put it in. So we didn't find out till yesterday. I've done some sleuthing, right? I've talked to some people in the know in the NIL transfer portal world. Obviously, Duke's gotten bitten pretty bad here, right? This is difficult to come back from when 2 of your best players who both announced they were staying at Duke are now not staying at Duke. And obviously, Barkate comes with a different kind of emotional toll because pretty obvious he decided to stay at Duke to play with Darian Mensah. And once Mensah leaves, his whole situation changes. So I don't know if Duke doesn't, fan base doesn't hold it against him as much. But the transfer world, the NIL world is just a seedy place right now. It is just a sketchy place right now. And I'll explain more later in the show about, 345. I'll dive in further. But they're like it's the truly, I know it's a used analogy, probably tired analogy. It truly is the wild, wild west where there are no rules, and as far as you're willing to go is as far as you can go. Like, there's nothing stopping you. There's nothing stopping you. So a team like Miami or some of these other teams, some of these agents, some of the players, they are going to be able to play the entire system to their own benefit, and there's very little honor amongst, like, what's the saying? No honor amongst thieves. There's very little honor amongst NIL portal abusers. If you're willing to, you can really change the entire game, and there's not much anybody can do about it. Again, Duke can take you to court like they are with Darian Mensah, and it'll be ugly, and I think Duke will be made a bit more whole than they are. But in the scheme of things, I think you can be as selfish as you want. And that goes for every direction. There are schools out there being pretty darn selfish and not thinking about honor either, just like there are players out there not thinking about integrity or being people of their word. Not saying any of that about Cooper Barcade. Again, his situation's a little different, but it's going to get uglier in the portal before it gets better. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. UNC beat Notre Dame last night, 91-69. Everybody can breathe in Tar Heel land, correct? Stick around.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing.
Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Faceoffers, Caleb Wilson takes the ball away from Serta, and here we go. There's the highlight from Wilson. Cocks it back and throws it down.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Gosh, did North Carolina need a win last night? And a win like that, where for, the last 10 minutes of the game, everybody could stop arguing about how hard the players are playing and just enjoy a double-digit lead that you were pretty confident was going to end with a no-stress win. Even if it's just for a few minutes, getting a bit of a respite from all of the back and forth about what's going wrong is huge, right? Remind everybody what it's like to watch a game and just have a good time. A 91-69 win against Notre Dame will do that. I will say it's just a respite as far as the play of their perimeter can continue to build off that game. Virginia is next up. That's no joke whatsoever. So it's a bit of on a hot day, that passing small cloud perhaps, where it goes in front of the sun and you're like, oh, thank goodness. And it could be gone as quickly as it arrived. Doesn't mean it wasn't awesome. Doesn't mean it wasn't necessary. Doesn't mean it didn't let you catch your breath. Just means you better be ready for what is sure to come next, which is, the bright rays of the sun once again. That's the ACC, as it should be. Now, first of all, let's give credit where it's due. Caleb Wilson has let me get this straight. He had 20 points and 6 rebounds, which was his 13th 20-point game this season. The most by a UNC freshman since a guy who's arguing right now about how they should upgrade the arena, Tyler Hansbrough. And he had 14 way back in 05-06. Caleb Wilson has 13 20-point games. So he's playing well. Henry Vasar is playing well. The big changes that are happening, the biggest difference between, Stanford, Cal, Wake, SMU, right, the 4 games previous, and this one was Notre Dame. Let's be real, right? Competition matters. But also, it's the backcourt, right? Derek Dixon started the last 2 games. I'm not saying he's been all world. I am saying he's scored the basketball decent, right? And 12 points a game around. Kyan Evans, Jaren Stevenson, they've seen their playing time cut. Jaden Young got the start. That's a bit of a surprise. Jonathan Powell's getting more run. Some of these changes will stick. Some of these are going to go, wow, didn't think that was that way in practice, but in games, so-and-so is playing better than so-and-so. Some of them will stick. Some of them won't. And hopefully they'll have more changes they can try in the future, because the perimeter for Carolina is still so far from where it should be for a program that good with a front court that good. But it was 100%, and we've been talking about it the last couple of days, you got to try it portion of the season.
Yeah, Hubert Davis did say after the game that he went with that lineup because he felt that was the lineup that was strongest in their attempted comeback against Cal.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I'm going to reward these guys with the start, which is a bit of a smaller lineup than we've seen, but obviously it paid off.
And on top of that, or like the reason why I like that is if things have been going well, if you hadn't been struggling, if there weren't these warning signs popping up, these check engine lights popping up, you thank the group that made the comeback attempt, and then you go back to the tried and true. The players, you don't change your entire thought process on the second half of a game that, quite frankly, you didn't play well. But with where they are right now, again, separating the team between the post players and the guards and the front court and the back court. In the back court, if you have a hot 15 minutes, that might be enough to be like, you know what? Let's play them a bunch more next game. See if it's real. That's where North Carolina is right now. Right? All right, let's start them. See how it goes. Right? Let's reward them for that. Also, and this goes into what we talked about yesterday. I have a hard time with all of the play harder arguments, right? Like the effort arguments, because I don't know. I very rarely see a team playing bad and then hear somebody say, we're going to try harder. And then, they're playing great, right? It just, I don't have a lot of examples of that. So I rarely expect it to work. But yesterday, Dennis actually brought up a really good point, which is if the coaching staff isn't holding everybody accountable for effort, then that is a huge issue, right? If guys aren't playing hard, or if they're getting caught being lazy on film or on, even in real time on defense, and they're not being chastised or taken out of the game or forced to run, whatever, that is an issue program-wide. That could also be by rewarding those that are trying hard, right? That can also be, if a comeback exists, which fell short, by the way, but it existed against Cal. If it exists because of effort, if it exists because despite the fact that you were down by a bunch, you're diving for loose balls and fighting for possessions, and you one at a time clawed your way back into a game, rewarding those players is another way to be held accountable for effort. Right? It's let me think of a different way or a different similar ideology. One year, maybe this says a little bit about that year of our team. When I was in college, we had our normal captains, right? 4 captains or 3 captains is what we had. 2 of them were like, they were our captains, right? Both of them went on to be All-Americans, all that kind of stuff. And the 3rd was rotating. The 3rd was somebody that did something the coaches loved the game before. And it was very rarely like the receiver that had 140 yards. It was usually 3 special teams tackles. It was usually a backup who the starter got hurt in the first quarter and had to go in and was ready and prepared and had a good game. It was rewarding those that were doing all of the little things right. And you got to go out there and be a captain, and you got to take a picture, right? You got to, your parents got to see you go out there for the coin toss and do all those sorts of things. Rewarding great effort is another way of building that culture in your locker room. It doesn't always have to be just absolutely annihilating people that get caught loafing. It could be rewarding those that are going all out. So if North Carolina is going to emphasize that, and if somebody like Jaden Young goes in and absolutely lays it all on the line, and suddenly they go from a guy who's getting 3 minutes a game to, all right, we're going to start him and play him 15, that's a way to make everybody else on the roster go, all right, if I check into this game, I'm leaving with a court burn, right? If I check into this game, I'm leaving with probably 2 fouls called against me, 2 steals, and a couple of great hustle plays. Like, that's another way to make it happen. So, you've heard all the former players, right? If you haven't, maybe my algorithm's different, but then you haven't been on social media, because their opinions are all over the place with, they got to show the fire. They got to know what it's like to put on the uniform. You have to respect that. You have to try hard. You have to work. Effort. If that's happening, yeah, you can fix it with how you coach the team, I suppose, as long as I just don't think it's a speech. It's not, we have to try hard. You can reward things and punish things, essentially, to get that rolling. But either way, 91-69, that's what you're looking for. That's a good win for UNC. They'll have a huge opportunity this weekend to build off of it, right? I say this often about multiple teams that we cover, but you can't prove consistency in one game. Beating Notre Dame is great. You did what you were supposed to do. Actually, I should rephrase that. We'll see if you did what you were supposed to do if certain parts of your game are better against Virginia, because they'll be a bigger test. They're a better team. They're a top 25, all those things. It's coming up over the weekend. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do have the Dean's List coming up, but first, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. I know a lot of people aren't going to be hopping on the motorcycle this weekend, myself included, thinking about all this bad weather we have coming in, but I'm also excited about the fact that, in just a couple of months, pulling the motorcycle out of storage, riding around town, maybe even showing up to some hockey games on the bike, well, you can also be one of those people as well, because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. I'll say it again, a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. That's courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Your way to enter, just go to caniacsbike.com. caniacsbike.com. The bike will be given away live April 4th at the game, and it includes tickets to a catered suite. A catered suite, tickets to that in and of itself is pretty awesome. That's worth the price of admission, which is nothing. It costs you nothing to go to caniacsbike.com and enter for your chance to win. It gives you until March 29th, but don't wait till then. caniacsbike.com. Enter for your chance to win that Canes Ducati motorcycle. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, looks at the Dean's List coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Soundstation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know Soundstation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, Soundstation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Soundstation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tee at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
Pondering prizes with Cash Pop? Why pick just one pop when you can pick as many pops as you please? Up to 15. Picture this. You pick your pop, perhaps a powerful 7. Now pick more pops like a proud 9, a pristine 15, a perfect 10. Each pop propagates more potential to pack your pockets with prizes up to $2,500. So prepare for a peppering of prizes with Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Cash Pop. Play more pops, win more prizes. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds charts at nclottery.com. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's renter's insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the 4 walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
So 19-8 as Bogavants gets the steal. He'll kick it ahead to Trimble on the catch and finish. Seth way up in the air for the throwdown.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm going to try this again for you before we get to the Dean's List. There are some scheduling changes in ACC basketball that I want to pass along to you. They are all for Saturday's games. Today being Thursday, Saturday, not tomorrow. Saturday's games. Wake Forest at Duke, which was scheduled for 5:45 p.m. on Saturday, will now be moved to noon on Saturday. Same day, earlier on. It'll be on the CW. North Carolina's game at Virginia, so it's on the road in Charlottesville, has been moved from 2 p.m. up to noon as well. That'll be on ESPN2. And then Virginia Tech at Louisville has been moved up an hour and a half from 3:45 p.m. to 2:15 p.m. And NC State at Pittsburgh will remain at noon, but its broadcast is switching over to ESPNU. That's just some ACC change-ups that are happening due to the expected weather to hit the East Coast this weekend. Also, I should remind everybody, if you are interested in the NFL games on Sunday, obviously the Canes game on Saturday, and you do lose power, which all of the people that are much smarter than I am when it comes to predicting the weather are very heavy in warning about losing power due to the ice that is expected to come over the weekend. And I learned today that a half inch of ice adds 500 pounds or more to each strand or whatever of power line. So if there is a power outage, you can listen into 99.9 The Fan, right? Get a battery-powered radio, a crank radio. You can go into your car, whatever it is. Free, right? The FM dial's free, and you can listen in if you don't have television, don't have all the trappings that come with power. So there you go. Or if you can get your phone obviously charged up, you have some portable batteries, whatever it is, you can listen in on the 99.9 The Fan app as well. That's another way to make sure you're up on your favorite team, regardless of what your power status is at your house. And I guess I should say this. I know you guys all know this, hopefully, because you know our show, but be safe first, right? Make sure your home is warm and you got food and all the supplies you need, and then you can start thinking about making sure you don't miss your favorite team's outcome this weekend. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into something we call the Dean's List. First up on the Dean's List, and this should maybe be like the quintessential Dean's List entry. I'm putting UNC, meaning North Carolina Tar Heel, athletics.
All right.
Are you familiar with the Learfield Directors Cup?
Yes.
I believe, according to Pat Forty, who senior writer Sports Illustrated, North Carolina has officially now won the fall Learfield Cup Directors Cup standings. They are in first place following the conclusion of fall sports with football finishing out. And are you ready for this? Number 1, North Carolina. I don't know the actual point system. It has to do with every sports finish in your championships across men's and women's sports. 359 points. Second, Stanford, another ACC school, 346.5 points. Third, Virginia, another ACC school, 339.5 points. Fourth, BYU. Fifth, Notre Dame. Do we count them as an ACC school? In this case, I will. 301 points. Washington, whatever. Princeton, sure. Eighth, Wake Forest, ACC school.
Let's go.
Ninth, just a half point behind Wake Forest. Duke, ACC school. If you're counting, yeah, that's 5 of the top 9 are from the ACC. Just means more. All of it.
You know who else is also on that list in the Division II overall standings through the fall? Wingate, Division II school, located in Wingate, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte.
NC State is 17th, by the way.
Okay.
So they're obviously below both North Carolina and Duke, but top 20 is still impressive. That's the whole thing, right? I mean, should be celebrated more. You mean you're good at every sport? That's awesome. I know some people will say, football is all that matters. Well, I mean, I sometimes agree with that.
Revenue.
I'm not going to, nitpick your argument, but there is something cool as a school, as a program, just knowing that, if you're on campus, you're walking to class, and you're wearing your North Carolina field hockey sweatshirt, and you pass someone wearing a North Carolina baseball sweatshirt, there's a good chance you're both pretty awesome at what you do. And whatever school, whatever sport it is, it's like, yeah, you know what? As a unit, we're looking good right now. And that goes for the ACC as well. So there you go. Dean's List. More Dean's List. Quentin Coleman. He is a Wake Forest basketball commit, a recruit. 247 Sports updated their recruit rankings, like their top 300s and all that. And he's a senior right now playing like his senior season. Jumped from 91 to 33 in the rankings. That's going from solid 4-star to knocking on the door of 5-star. And moves him, I believe, into the top 6 highest ranked if he ends up playing for Wake Forest. And this is where he ends. They don't update and he drops. I believe that would make him the 6th highest rated player to sign and eventually play for Wake Forest. So that's good business for Wake, right? That's buying a stock early and watching it shoot up in price. You get him to commit when he's a borderline top 100 guy, and then by the time he gets to campus, he's knocking on the door of the top 25. That's good. Now, you got to get him there, right? You got to get him there, and that's the next challenge, all right? But still, good for the young man to boost his stock like that his senior year. Do you have some Dean's Listers, Dennis?
Well, I added Wingate to your.
Oh, there you go.
To your Learfield Cup.
What's their mascot? The Wingate. It's got to be like a
Bulldogs.
Oh yeah, you said that. Bulldogs. Do you think they keep them gated, or they go invisible fence? Because if so, they should be called the Win Invisible Fences. Nate Shepard, I'm putting on the Dean's List. Duke running back.
All right.
You know the GIF of Will Smith at the end of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where he's just standing in an empty room. They've moved all the furniture out of the Bel-Air house,
just standing there,
just looking around alone. It wasn't that long ago that Duke put a graphic out on their social media about Darian Mensah, Cooper Barkate, and Nate Shepard all returning. 1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard running back, whatever it was, 3,000-yard passer. They were the leading returnees in the ACC at all their statistical positions. Well, Mensah, transfer portal. Barkate, transfer portal. Nate Shepard's got to be feeling like that Will Smith meme. And I just think maybe, blessing in disguise. What are we thinking? 1 billion touches for him next year? Like lead the country in yards because he's the engine coming back to that offense? Maybe? Anything? More Dean's List. I'm putting ACC football on because, people will say the SEC is better. People will say the Big Ten has more money, right? People will say all of these things, and they have more teams in the CFP and the national championship, whatever you want to say, right? Can you show me a coach that went 12-22 in conference and 3 years later was an NFL head coach? Because 12-22 is, I guess, good enough in the ACC to be one of the 32 best coaches in the world? Because that's exactly what Jeff Hafley did. Jeff Hafley went 12-22 in conference in his 4 years as Boston College head coach. Boston College's head coach. 12-22. He's now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. That's got to say something about the ACC, right? Well, yeah, you're good enough to be an NFL head coach, but and be well below 500 in the rough and tumble world of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Yeah, you might be able to beat the Jets and the Bills in your division, but you can't beat Virginia and Pittsburgh.
You know what the crazy thing is? They have a former NFL head coach and Bill O'Brien as their head coach at Boston College now.
And I bet you he had a better winning percentage with the Texans than he does at BC. I'm telling you, it's not that easy to win in the ACC. One more. I just want to put Derek Dixon on here. UNC freshman guard. I always say stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You never know when your opportunity's coming. You're always one play away. He wasn't the biggest part of the rotation for UNC early in the year, but he's slid into the starting lineup the last couple games, had 11 points in the win versus Notre Dame last night, 4 of 6 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, which is even better. They need shooting around those big guys. If he can play himself into a much bigger role than probably even he was anticipating a handful of weeks ago, which is important for that team. They need better guard play, so I'm throwing Derek Dixon on there. There you go. Let's go ahead and dismiss the Dean's List, shall we? Because I want to tell you all about Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. And if you're not into watches, you should be, first of all, because they're awesome. Fashion statement, make a statement, all those things. But there's a lot of talk right now, right? Power might go out this weekend. And suddenly you have an appreciation for the types of innovations that don't require energy, that don't require electricity or gas or anything else. Well, guess what? Automatic watches. They work based on your movement, right? You wear them on your wrist, you're going about, they will continue to keep time. Mechanical watches, you can wind them up, and that's how you get that's where you get your power from. That's how they keep time, and it can be unbelievably accurate. This is technology, innovation that goes back decades and decades, if not centuries for some of these brands, and they are, yes, power outage proof in many cases, so you can know what time it is without having to look over at your blinking digital clock that you keep right next to your bed. And it's really, it's cool. Like, it's just cool to have all of that engineering and movement on your wrist walking around with you, and it's so precise and it's so incredibly assembled that it works that way. Yeah, I'm talking about pre-owned and vintage Rolexes. I'm talking about Omegas. I'm talking about Glashütte Original. Some of these companies that have so much history and so much innovation that you can wear right on your wrist and carry it around with you. A piece of history in many cases. A moon watch, 50 Fathoms. These are watches that innovated not just timekeeping and luxury watches, but entire bits of engineering throughout history. So check them out. Ask details. Do research. Go to Fox & Bailey, the watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Sit around and talk with the experts there. I promise you, it is fascinating. And when you're there chopping it up, make sure you let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back with a deep dive into the underbelly of the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness compensation in college basketball, football, the college sports world. Stick around.
Experience the heat with a hot spring hot tub or Tilo sauna from Atlantic Spas and Billiards. Too much inventory means big savings and a big selection from the largest hot tub and sauna store in the Triangle. Our newly remodeled showroom at 8721 Glenwood Avenue celebrates our 39th year with indoor and outdoor saunas, hot tubs, and outdoor gaming. Our billiard side is stocked full of pool tables, foosball, darts, table tennis, and more. Come in now for the largest savings and availability. Atlantic Spas and Billiards, 8721 Glenwood Avenue, Raleigh.
Hey, it's Amanda here, and I'm back again with Coach Pete. Coach, I was embarrassed, I'm going to be honest, to start working with you because I don't know anything about the financial world. I don't know what these terms mean, but you brought it down to a level that I could understand, and not in a mean way, just in a, hey, this is what I do for a living. Let me explain this to you so that you can understand it and help, me invest my money.
Well, if you don't understand what someone's talking about, you're really not going to understand what they mean.
Yeah.
And so you shouldn't need a dictionary to define what they're doing. I've tried to dumb it down. It's a term it's used sometimes in a bad way, but dumbing it down is a good way. Let's make it easy to understand.
Amen.
So we take the financial world, we run it through the computer systems, my head, and we come out with some easy ways to understand the complex matters that are explained. And many times some of the advisors try to make it complex to talk over your head. We're going to put it in your terms. We're going to make a plan for you. If you call right now, you'll understand exactly what you have.
919-794-7900. 919-794-7900.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
Leaves, water, debris. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. There are a lot of things that can wreak havoc on your commercial property, and we are proud to be there for our dedicated customers that depend on us. From helping to design and build the roof for new construction, to maintenance, repair, and replacements, we've got the experience that you can count on. At RoofWorks, we don't want to be the biggest, we just want to be the best. Visit us at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Canes Hockey is back. Grab an ice cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Canes. Only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles, so easy to sip and enjoy. It's not a seltzer, it's Surfside. Official hard tea and lemonade of the Carolina Hurricanes. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Here's Mensah, the snap. Rolls to the right. Fires. Hagens. He'll take it in. And Duke has the lead. 46-45 with 40 seconds to go.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, this next segment here hopefully will answer some questions for you, but I guarantee you it'll also bring about a bunch more questions because that's exactly what happened with me. In the aftermath, or not even aftermath, the current math, like in the thick of it, with what Duke is going through with Darian Mensah and what so many schools are going through with transfer portal and NIL and how much is payment and what's the contract and is it pay for play, is it not? I think it's important to admit what you don't know, and I realized I didn't know a darn thing about that world. Right? I played college football, but it was before all of this, so it's all so foreign to me. So I reached out to an agent that deals with NIL in college, right? Also deals with pro stuff, NFL stuff, CFL stuff. Like he's an agent, and I asked him if he would answer some questions for me. And he did so under the condition of anonymity, so I won't be able to give specific schools or specific players for the reason of he's probably going to want to make deals with these schools, and he doesn't want to, air anyone's dirty laundry out or insult anybody and then have it all be like, no, we're not going to sign your client now. So I'll be slightly vague here, but I'll also hopefully illuminate some stuff that put my jaw on the ground. So my first question was tampering. It's everywhere, isn't it? Like I there's no way it's not. And he hit almost like a too simple. He went, yes. I was like, okay, you're going to have to give me more than that. And he gave me one example, not one example, but one form of example. So he's an agent, right? And he has a relationship with certain schools, and he's talked with whatever GMs at a bunch of different levels. He's had schools reach out to him at the beginning of a football year and say, hey, this player is one we're interested in next offseason in the transfer portal. Right? So school A, big school, more money, reaches out to agent and says, player at school B, less money, less resources, is one we're interested in 10 months from now. Can you go get him to let you represent him? He's unrepresented right now. And then as soon as you are his agent, tell him we're interested for X amount of dollars, maybe more if he has a good season and stays healthy. And I don't even, and the agent was even like, that's probably not technically tampering, because when they spoke with me, I had absolutely no connection to the player.
That's true.
And then he goes out and he's like, I watch the film of those players, and sometimes I do pursue them, sometimes I don't. But that is otherworldly bananas for how to manage a roster. Because not only are there players on the big school that are expecting to, be able to earn that role, and it's already being given away before the season even starts for the next year, but also that player is now at a school, playing for a school, understanding another school is watching and he's auditioning for them. And you wonder why guys would be upset if they aren't getting the ball enough, or they aren't getting catches, or they aren't playing enough, when they understand that there could be, and the money is not small, we'll talk about that in a second, a huge check coming their way, and their dream of playing at a big school if they can convince a school that they know is watching and their agent is telling them is watching, and the only reason their agent is representing them is because they're watching. Multi-year contracts, are they a thing, was my next question. And obviously this was a Darian Mensah question, right? I'm like, hey, we're here in North Carolina. I'm covering Darian Mensah. It's all about a multi-year contract. And he said, yes, they are, and people are negotiating them, and it is possible. He thinks Darian Mensah is not the type of player that it is best for, meaning big money quarterbacks are going to be able to do essentially whatever they want because another school will always be willing to pay. And multi-year contracts, he doesn't think that you will be able to get a court say you can't play for another team, but you might be able to get a court to say you have to give back all of the money your first team gave you in order for you to play for another team, which is what I guess Duke is hoping for, right? Like perhaps Miami and Darian Mensah have to pay the whatever millions of dollars Darian Mensah made last year back to them, which he described as like if you hire someone to fix your roof and you give them a certain amount of money up front and you say the rest will be done will be given to you when you're done the project. They start the project, never finish it. The contract could say you get that first money back, right? That's one way an independent contractor is paid. Another way an independent contractor is paid, different industry, is music, right? Where you aren't an employee of the label if you're like a musician, a pop star, but you sign a contractor relationship where it's like, all right, we have your next 3 albums or your next 5 albums, whatever it is, and they own your output until you fulfilled that contract. And that is the question of the Darian Mensah deal right now. Does Duke own his next 2 years of football like a industry label in music owns your next 2 albums? And you can't get out of that deal until you fulfill those 2 albums, or I assume pay some gargantuan amount of money. So as an independent contractor, is Darian Mensah a singer or is he a roofer? In those 2 scenarios is what's being decided by the courts over the next however long.
But he's not an employee.
In neither case is he an employee. Because, I mean, that's the one thing we know right now is schools have never named their players as employees.
Nor do they want to.
And they will do everything they can to not. And I actually think the music analogy is a good one. Like, hey, we own the next 2 years you play football, that's ours. And you know, you can take years off if you want to come back. Like, we have that. Like somebody that signed a three album deal, right? You can't release it independently. You can't go play. Like, we own that. I think that's an interesting way to look at it as compared to a few others. As far as the actual money goes, because this has been like a challenge for me, a chase for me personally. How do you know how much to ask for? This is what was told me. And it's a little different for each school. And again, I can't put names on it, but he said agents can find out budgets. Because I was like, how do you know what to ask? What if, you ask for $2 million for a player, and this is my example, not his, and you find out they have like a $3 million budget. And it's just like, no. He said, well, before he goes, there are channels and people he can ask and people he knows to find out what a budget for the school is in total. Most schools treat it, I would say, similar to NFL teams, where they look at what their total budget is, and that includes rev share, that includes the money they know is coming in from collectives and sponsors and boosters, like hard and fast committed, they've seen the cash, not, IOUs. And they have that total number, and then they go percentage. They might say a starting linebacker gets 3%, a starting quarterback gets 20%, a starting receiver gets 7%, whatever their breakdown is. And obviously they can fudge on that a little bit to get special players, but as an agent, you go in almost asking like, all right, what's your breakdown? Because I want to make sure my guy's getting fair, and whether they give you that information or not is up to them. But the collectives, that's another thing that people are arguing about. You can offer, or at least they are offering. That's another thing that came up. And my head is spinning as much as yours, if yours is spinning. There's a lot of things that may be against the rules, but just nobody is challenging. So everyone's just kind of agreeing like, hey, if this is working, we'll just keep doing it. Things like you can make offers of combining revenue share and NIL money. Player, you can say like, hey, we got $400,000 for you. And they could come out with, we have $200 from revenue share, $200 from our collective. You just have to sign 2 different contracts, but they're both guaranteed. And that's a way to get significantly more money on your roster than your rev share cap would indicate. And you do have to, for the collective, in most cases, agree to signing 400 pieces of memorabilia or something like that and making an appearance or 2. But those are not always being fulfilled, and the money is usually coming through anyway. All right.
What about pay for play?
Pay for play. That is the next point. Pay for play is illegal. That is against the rules. Okay. By what I was told it's happening and the way they're kind of working it, pay for play is not necessarily happening in, I will give you X amount of dollars to play for this team. That, I guess, is too on the face illegal. But there are contracts that are being written with incentives. And those incentives can be tied to snap count. So you get, and I'm just using round numbers here, $100,000 for a group of 5, call it a running back. And maybe he's not expected to play. He's expected, or not expected to start. He's expected to be a third down back, right? A situational guy. The agent or whoever draws up the contract could put in there, if this running back plays one more snap than 50%, over 50% of snaps, that $100,000 becomes $200,000. And my immediate response to this agent was, that's pay for play. That is literally $100,000 more because you played, because you were on, like, not because you practiced, not because you were good in the community, not because you signed autographs. That is $100,000 more because you played. And he went, yep. And nobody's challenging it. So it's just like, if you don't tell anybody, I think we're going to be okay, right? It's like walking into a concert without a ticket. Right, you're just walking in, and I don't. As long as they don't ask to see my ticket, I'm just going to keep walking. That's what they're doing with pay for play right now. That's what they're doing for pay for play.
It's just like an NFL contract.
In a lot of ways, it is.
Yeah.
It's coming from different sources. It's significantly less public, which is an issue. There are contracts that say you, your agent, your family, if anybody leaks the terms of your contract, it's null and void and we can take our money back, which means not only because, like, if a player leaks it, that's one thing. But if a player goes and talks to their parents and their parents brag about it at work and somebody at their work posts it in a message board, the player doesn't get their cash. So a player almost can't even tell his parents unless he trusts them, like, lock and key to not mention it to their aunt and uncle. Like, they can't even say anything because teams don't want everybody to know how much each position is making, because then the next one is going to want more. It becomes an issue on the same team. He had a running back at a school, won't say, who the starter was making, we'll call it $500,000. His guy was the backup making $100,000, and those numbers aren't real. By the end of the season, his guy was the starter. So in the offseason, they went, perfect. Starters make $500,000. Here we go. Let's start there. And the team went, no, we'll give you $120,000. And he was like, what? Again, not real numbers, but it's pretty much that insulting. And it turned out they knew that his contract that he had signed July 1st of last year went till June 30th, and there's no second portal window. So they had him and his NIL rights until June 30th. Portal shut last Friday, and they told him, well, we got you till June 30th. Why would we give you a huge raise now when we can wait till your contract's up and you won't have a market there because you won't be able to enter the transfer portal? And it became this weird business stare down with a team that he finished as the starter for last year. It's gross. It's gross. Certain players are taking advantage of it, the ones with all the leverage, the top. Players are overwhelmingly getting bullied by teams. This is the last one I'll say. I could go on about this all day. Coaches, GMs, whoever, will call a player, and this is not all of them, but enough of them, say, we're prepared to offer you a scholarship. How does X amount of dollars sound? And the player goes, that's great. And he goes, all right, talk it over with your family, talk it over with your agent. I'll send over the contract as soon as you give me the A-OK. Perfect. Great. That coach will never interact with the player again. Completely ghost. Right? Hour later, player's like, great, send over the contract. Mom loved it. Agent's all in. Send it here. Here's the email, or here's the fax. Never hear from them again. Just brutal stuff for getting somebody's hopes up, their dreams. And that's just a part of it. I got so many notes here. The whole conversation lasted like an hour. It's gross. That's what I want to say. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and jump into football at 4 up next.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. I'm Jenny Palmentier, CEO of the K-Yow Cancer Fund. From now through January 31st, Triangle Area Bojangles will donate all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry, do some good, and get something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Western Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-568-3344. 800-568-3344. 800-568-3344.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm. Injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Mostly cloudy and warm this afternoon. We'll see high of 60 degrees. Some scattered rain begins around mid to late afternoon and continues into tonight and tomorrow. Tonight's low is above freezing at 37, and tomorrow will end up around 49 degrees. Now, Saturday and Sunday, we're still on track for a severe winter storm. This is likely to be an ice storm with widespread power outages. We do have a winter storm watch in effect for the entire viewing area for this weekend.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell today, up 306 points to 49,384.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
Football at 4 here on the drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We continue our series where we tour around the Carolina Panthers roster. Looking at a different position group every day, breaking down how confident we are in that position group going into next year, essentially deciding how much work they need to do this offseason at that particular position. And we start with my score for the position out of 100, right? Just a way to kind of recognize where they are, a good starting point. And today we're doing running backs. Running backs. 60 out of 100 is where I am right now. 60 out of 100. But in a weird way, it's not as bad as a 60 out of 100 sounds, right? Because I understand that might be jarring, and you might really like Chuba. Running back can be improved quickly and cheaply in an offseason. And if you don't believe me, look at what they did with Rico Dowdle last year. Right, found him on the bargain bin, and he was the best running back in football for 6 weeks, and finished, fantasy wise, I think he was like the 9th best running back in the league. Right, so he had some unbelievable games. So there's I would say easy paths. Easy is the wrong word. Realistic paths to significantly improving a running back room without having to spend huge amounts of draft capital or huge amounts of money to do so. Right now, the main characters they have under contract for next year, which is what this is all about, Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks, Trevor Etienne. That is one guy who's an established kind of, I don't want to say plotter, but an established grinding running back in Chuba Hubbard when healthy, and then 2 guys on rookie contracts who have proven collectively nothing. Chuba Hubbard, I believe, paid too much for what he is, meaning he's being paid too much for what he is. That's not 2020 hindsight. You can go back the day they signed it. I was like, I don't love that contract. I don't think you pay running backs that aren't the super special aliens a ton of money, and Chuba got life-changing money. This year, especially with the injuries that he dealt with, that took him from 100% of Chuba to whatever, 85% of Chuba, and the production dipped a long way. I think it proved to be true. Jonathan Brooks is still a handful of magic beans, right? You hope that he grows into what you envisioned when you drafted him, but I don't think you can depend on him for anything. Right? You can dream and fantasize, and if it happens, be really excited. But if you're going in with like, hey, he'll take 12 carries a game, I think that's borderline negligent to your roster.
Yeah, you don't know if he's going to have the speed, the power, burst. You just don't know.
Or if the guy might just be susceptible to knee injuries.
There's that too.
If another one, you don't want to be out of luck with your hands, palms to the sky, because a guy who got hurt twice already is hurt again.
You know, the crazy thing is, coming out of college, one of the things that was lauded about him was that, like, yeah, he had the knee injury, but he only had 238 carries, so no ton of tread on the tires. Not a lot of wear and tear.
Which you could argue, for a running back going into year 3, nobody has less tread on his tires than Jonathan Brooks. It's just, a few times he did get taken out, he got taken out. So, and then Trevor Etienne he just wasn't given a huge opportunity his rookie year. He was not anywhere near, from my pre-draft perspective, one of my favorite running backs in the draft last year. And a few guys that were drafted after him actually had pretty good seasons this past year, which is always tough to see. When you think of Bill Krosky-Merritt, when you think of Kyle Monangai with the Bears, like those guys were 7th rounders, right? And that's just a few. Here's what I believe they need in the running back room. They need, I would say, a true pass catcher. And I know some think Etienne is going to be that. Some thought Brooks was going to be that. You can depend on them if you want. I think you should add one. And you need a home run threat. You need somebody that has a history of hitting the open field, and instead of this is the way Rico Dowdle operated most of the year, and it's darn sure the way Chuba Hubbard operates. Once they get into the open field, they almost play the angles and just like angle to the sideline at the angle they think they can get the most yards before whatever safety coming over the top will meet them, and they're just gunning for that, maximizing their straight line yards. You need a guy who's thinking touchdown. Right? As soon as they break through the front 7, they're thinking, make this guy miss, outrun everybody to the end zone. And there are players like that are available middle of a draft, that are available in free agency, right? Pass-catching backs actually age decent, and you can find them on the scrap heap in free agency. Now, you might not have the home run threat if they're too veteran, but you can find guys that have been in NFL offenses that can pass protect and can catch passes for cheap.
There's a lot of good running backs in the free agent market, by the way.
This free agent market is bananas, and I'm not sure they should be messing with the top of it, right? When you get to like the ETNs, the Breece Halls for sure, the
Kenneth Walker III,
Javonte Williams, J.K. Dobbins, like there's a very, very fertile free agency running back group.
Tyler Algier, Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad White, Isaiah Pacheco. There's a lot.
I don't think they should be messing with the top of that, but that's going to push better, maybe one-trick ponies further down, and they're going to be left looking for some cash. You can get a discount. So the way this exercise works, and I've explained it a few times, but I'll do it again, is the 60 out of 100 that I gave is if they do nothing. If they don't add a single player to this running back room, and you have to roll with Chuba Hubbard, hopefully a healthier Jonathan Brooks and Trevor Etienne into next year, I don't think that's a winning recipe at all. I do think you should add probably 2 more bodies, and one of them perhaps in the draft, depending on how it falls, and definitely a free agent, and I don't think you should have to spend big money on either. And you can boost this thing up into the 80s pretty easily if you diagnose what you're looking for and zero in on the right candidates. And we know that when Dave Canales' offense is working best, it's when they have an effective run game. So don't skimp on this one, right? Don't find yourself, like they did with off-ball linebacker last year, where it felt like they were picking guys up and claiming guys off waivers and putting them right into the starting lineup. I do think certain teams can do that with running backs. You can just find a veteran that kind of generically gets the scheme, and he played for our offensive coordinator 2 years ago in a different location, and you can just kind of throw him in there. I don't think the Panthers want to be playing that game. I think because their running backs or their running game, their production is too important to the overall success of the offense.
What about someone from the state of North Carolina? A guy like Damon Claiborne. Wake Forest, talking about a guy with speed, not a big guy, but the dude can fly.
Absolutely. He fits a whole bunch of the things that you're looking for. Due to his size, he probably isn't a grinder. But if you have Chuba Hubbard handling short yardage and handling, the second down and 6s, you could have Damon Claiborne in the game, and he can be that difference maker. He can fly. What was it, 2 years ago on a kick return against Miami, he hit the fastest GPS time in the country for running backs. meaning on-field miles per hour with the ball in his hands. That's flying. This year he was a little banged up, but you can still go watch some games where he absolutely lit it up. And he's not the only one. There's a couple guys with a lot of speed in the running back draft class that are not expected to be all the way at the top. I actually think this year's top, outside of Jeremiah Love, who Jeremiah Love looks like a complete kind of old school throwback, really good running back, but the top 6 or 7 running backs don't seem to be speed backs in this year's draft, as the consensus is now. Obviously, that can change after combine and everything. But like 12 and beyond, there's some speed there. You can go find a big play threat, which is what you need. I like Chuba Hubbard. I definitely don't love Chuba Hubbard, and I definitely don't love him at his cost. Jonathan Brooks, when healthy, you can be as optimistic as you want. I just don't think it's a smart thing to depend on him.
That's a scratcher ticket right now.
Yeah. They're fun, though.
They can't be. hey, might hit
match
big.
These numbers. I'm always one off from getting $500,000. I'm always one off. That's how they keep you coming back. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. How many times have you watched that one play where Jonathan Brooks looked explosive 2 years ago? Huh? It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
A couple plays later, he's laying in a heap. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to pass along.
I do. Dennis Cox here, real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers once again. I know I'm excited to get back out on the road once the weather and all that stuff clears up, and not just in the sense of the ice that we're going to have this weekend, but in the sense of just when things warm up, it's nice to be out there on the open road. I know a lot of people like to drive with the windows down. That's one thing I love about a motorcycle, just out there on the open road. It is truly is a great feeling when you're just out there just kind of just free roaming, just out and about. It truly is a blessing out there. And one thing I've learned about being as a motorcycle rider is that the motorcycle riding community loves to give back to the community. They do charity rides. They like to do different events to support the community. And one thing about the Law Tigers is that the Law Tigers attorneys are part of the motorcycle riding community, and they want to give back, especially to you hockey fans out there. That's why the Law Tigers are teaming up once again with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. To enter, it's simple. Go to caniacsbike.com. Don't wait. Just go to caniacsbike.com. You can do it on your phone, do it on your computer, do it on your laptop, whatever it is. caniacsbike.com. Enter for your chance to win that Canes Ducati motorcycle. Bike will be given away live on April 4th at the game and includes tickets and a catered suite. I mean, the tickets in a catered suite in and of itself is pretty freaking awesome. But you can also walk away with the Canes Ducati motorcycle in the process, folks. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. The ACC basketball teams in our area have had a heck of a week. We dive into their cons and cons, our most confident and most concerning thoughts about the Triangle ACC teams coming up next.
Evan Canty and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott did an awesome job in Buffalo, but not good enough. And we have been saying this all year. Sean McDermott should be the coach of an NFL team next year. It should just not be the Buffalo Bills. They have to get someone to win now.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm Neil, founder of Clay Room. When I found ceramics, I realized my calling was to give others the space to be creative. So I set out to open my own studio. Having a Chase Ink card has allowed us to grow it and bring people together. Now we're molding a creative community.
With the Chase Ink Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
It's the playoffs, and honestly, your living room isn't ready for this. Your couch doesn't have award-winning wings, your fridge doesn't have 30 beers on tap, and your TV, oh, it's outnumbered. Carolina Ale House has wall-to-wall TVs. We've got homemade favorites, ice-cold beer, and enough screens to catch every game at once. So grab your crew, bring your appetite, and yell at the TV like a professional professional. Don't fumble your game day plans. Watch the playoffs at Carolina Ale House, where great sports deserve great food. Ale, yeah.
Hi, friends. This is Mark Pons with Chapel Hill Tire. In basketball, when your feet slip, the play is over. Traction keeps you in the game. The same goes for the road. That's why this January and February, you'll save $120 with free installation when you buy a full set of Michelin, Pirelli, or Uniroyal tires. Better grip on cold roads and wet pavement means more control behind the wheel. Confidence you can feel every time you drive. With 13 locations across the Triangle, we're easy to find. Book your appointment at chapelhilltire.com, save $120, and drive happy.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Groovin coming out of break here, Dennis?
You know, Lost in the Supermarket by The Clash. Very fitting because a lot of people are going to the supermarket right now, getting ready for a little winter storm, which our good friend Paul Ihander, our boss program director who hosts Next Up, as he said this morning on Next Up, be nice.
Yeah.
Everyone's out there trying to do the same thing. Be nice.
I get you want, the last loaf of whole wheat bread, but you don't have to physically get in an altercation about it. There's options.
Make your own. How about that?
Ooh.
Try
Are you a bread maker?
I'll do it. I've done it.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I've never made bread.
It's delicious.
I'll eat bread. It's delicious. I've never made it myself.
It's all about you gotta have the right flour.
I was going to say, did you do all that stuff during the COVID lockdowns where everybody was making sourdough and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I actually still had to come into here.
Yeah.
So I never had to do the work from home like a lot of people have unfortunately had to do.
I think that's a story for a lot of us in radio. They gave me a little card. That was a first communicator card.
Yeah. I had like a sheet of paper, basically, something to print out or show.
Yeah, if they ever pulled me over, like, we're in lockdown, I'd be like, well, actually, I have to go talk about the Last Dance documentary because there's no live sports going on.
Exactly.
Service to the people.
When does hockey come back?
God, yeah. Like let's talk Korean baseball that took place at 2:30 in the morning. Good times. That was a long time ago now.
But in all seriousness, we had to be here because of the emergency alert systems and all those kinds of things. We have to have people present to make sure those things operate.
We know how to turn on the microphones and tell people, and it's a mass communication. Anyway, we don't have to get into all that serious stuff, but that's what the cards were for. The drive.
To answer your question, yeah, I make bread.
All right, there you go. Along those lines, be safe out there. Do not travel if you don't have to, especially if there's the ice storm of the century or however it's being described, and it actually comes through with those types of precipitation totals. So there you go. Winter storm expected this weekend. Please be safe and only drive if you feel safe doing so. There are we're about to talk ACC basketball. There are some changes to the schedule for Saturday already. Wake Forest at Duke, which was a men's basketball game scheduled for 5:45. It'll now be at noon, so they've bumped that up in time. North Carolina's game on the road at Virginia on Saturday was a 2 p.m. start. That is now a noon start, so they've bumped that up as well. And NC State's game at Pitt will remain on at noon, but the broadcast does change over to ESPNU. And as we said yesterday, NC Central postponed their games for today, Saturday, and Monday. I have not seen rescheduled dates for that, but if you're a fan of NC Central basketball, you want to check those out as they become public. With that being said, I said we're going to talk ACC basketball, so let's do it. Cons and cons.
But to play great defense, you need one thing above all else. That starts with a W. Confidence.
What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the three teams in the Triangle in the Atlantic Coast Conference, talking men's basketball? Also, be prepared. We have first goal scorer predictions coming up in about 12 minutes. So who scores the first goal for the Canes tonight against Chicago and in what period? Start thinking. We'll give you that phone number in a second. I want to be clear. We try to avoid, right? Thursday cons and cons is often a mix-up, right? We'll do a football team, a basketball conference, this, that. We'll mix it up. We're doing ACC basketball back-to-back weeks, which we don't do often, partly because I think these teams, for the most part, have grown a ton in the last week. Better or worse, they've exposed flaws. They're very different than what they were a week, especially 2 weeks ago. So I thought it would be fun to run it back. Dennis, which team would we like to start with?
Let's go NC State. They played yesterday. Let's go NC State.
As always, I have good news and bad news. Which do you want first? You take the bad news. We start with the concerns. My concern is consistency.
That was mine as well.
We've seen them be impressive. Florida State game, they lit them up. Their game against Clemson. Some of the advanced analytics say it's a top 10 win of any team in the country this year, based on how highly Clemson is ranked and that it was a true road game. That's really good. I can't get Georgia Tech out of my brain, right? I can't get some of the other rough losses and even some of the rough wins out of my brain. And you can't really prove consistency in one game. So until they look how Will Wade wants them to look for like a 2-3 week stretch at least, I'm going to be concerned about them, being able to put together enough to really shake up a conference or really make a run at this thing. With their consistency.
Yeah, mine was basically the same thing. I think there's just too much volatility in their game. Like you said, they could play like the way they did against Clemson, which was fantastic. And they saw the way they played against Virginia. You're like, ugh.
Oh, yeah, you were there for that.
I was there for that one. I was like, oh, God, what was this? But then you watch them play Clemson, you're like, oh, my God. So it's just there's too much volatility in the game.
I will say this, though, and the Virginia win is this maybe personified. A lot of their losses have aged well, where like Seton Hall felt so rough at the beginning of the Maui Invitational. Seton Hall's played pretty darn well. Virginia, right? They get beat and they look pretty ugly getting beat by Virginia, but Virginia's impressed a ton since then. So some of their losses maybe aren't as bad as they felt in the moment, which is why some of the advanced analytics really, really like NC State. Confidence. My confidence is playing under pressure. Now, we just put out a edition of Pack Therapy, the podcast, our first basketball episode of the year, myself and Max Gorin, and I talked about this phenomena on the pod. Will Wade is ramping up the pressure, right? And I looked at their schedule, and the way I explained this point was the Ole Miss game. So I'm going to just take you back to their December schedule. December 6th, they beat Asheville, double digits. December 10th, they beat Liberty by 40. They lost to Kansas in overtime. Kansas was top 20 in the country at the time. That's not a horrendous loss by any stretch.
I was at that game. It was a good game.
Texas,
in the sense of it was close.
It was close.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're an early team. They're playing against top 20. Like, that's not a loss that like anyone's going to pin on you as like a scarlet letter. Texas Southern, they beat by $1 billion. And Paul McNeil scores 47 points. And after that game, so that's all pretty good, right? That's a 4-game stretch. That's 2 weeks of pretty good results. After that game, Will Wade lit his team up, right? They're waiting for one person to have an unreal night. They're not hustling, the this, the that, the effort. Their next game was against Ole Miss. It felt must win because of everything Will Wade did. It felt like, oh gosh, they better play with their hair on fire. If they don't win this, the world's going to end. It really wasn't that way, right? If they lost that game, it was against Ole Miss. They're a decent SEC program. It's non-conference. But because of what Will Wade did, that game felt so pressure-packed, and they won by 14, and that felt so triumphant. I think if they can put some stuff together, get it to the second weekend of a tournament or make a run in the ACC tournament, whatever it is, that experience will benefit them because they're going to have just more games that felt must win than other teams because they manufactured them out of thin air in some ways. They then beat Wake Forest the next week, and if Will Wade never ranted after the Texas Southern game, that would have been 6 straight games of pretty solid results, and nobody would be thinking any different of it. But because he did rant, he mixed in these little high-pressure situations. What's your confidence?
My confidence, I know. Oh, wait, we're still in state. My confidence when it comes to NC State is that when Darian Williams is assertive on the offensive end, this team can run with anybody.
I think they need him, and it's a lesson learned. Even when he's not playing well, He needs to continue to be assertive.
Yes.
And there was some of that against Clemson. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he was a main cog in the offense, and everybody else benefited from it.
Yep.
He has to learn the impact isn't always just in making shots. Sometimes it's in the gravitational pull. What team do we do next?
Carolina played last night. Let's go Carolina.
Concern. Why don't you go ahead and lead off?
My concern when it comes to UNC right now is that I think they're at a pivotal point in their season that they still don't know what their rotation is, especially when it comes to their backcourt. We know what Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar can do. We've been singing their praises all season long. But you're already about to hit, you're basically 7 weeks away from the ACC tournament, and you're like, yeah, I don't know who my backcourt is. That's a problem in my eyes. I know there's still a lot of games to try and figure this out, and obviously you want to get it fixed over the next 6-7 weeks going into tournament play, but you would hope that you would have that figured out by now. I guess to summarize my concern is that when it comes to their backcourt, there are not clear defined roles for guys right now. And that, to me, is concerning because now guys are like, wait, I was doing this all year, and now you're asking me to do this, and then now you might switch it back. I don't know. That's a concern.
My concern is along those lines, but it's more specific. It's that not every team can challenge their weakness. They are pretty on the record as struggling against teams that have high-scoring perimeter players that can shoot from deep. And that is something like if you could, you would have them play against a team with like a 20-point scoring shooting guard every game until they get it right. And 20-point per game shooting guards just don't grow on trees, right? So they only have so many chances to work on their main flaw, which is like a gift because you can win a bunch of games without fixing it. But it's also a curse because at some point in the tournaments that matter, you're going to face a good shooting team or a team with a couple of perimeter scorers. And if you don't fix it, then you'll go as far as you can until you meet one of those. So how they play against good perimeters, they won't be tested that often.
I think teams are shooting in ACC play about 42% on behind the arc.
I don't know what the number is. I know the eye test is they're shooting like 75%. It feels like teams are shooting absurd percentages. And it's not all just like teams get hot. They're open, right? And not a lot of hands and faces and stuff like that.
I'm going to look this up here real fast.
All right. While you do that, I'll give my confidence. My confidence is Caleb Wilson.
That's easy.
Don't let the team struggles at times make you think he isn't living up to expectations. I still think he is as deserving of all individual praise that he can receive, even with the team maybe not doing as well around him. Was that long enough for you to find it? It was a quick confidence for me. I don't think we have to overcomplicate a little Caleb Wilson conversation.
Let's see. Here in conference, actually teams are actually shooting. I was a little bit high on the number. It's actually 33.8%, but it's the third worst opponent three-point shooting percentage in the ACC. Third worst.
I'm actually surprised they're not shooting higher against them. It does. That's the thing. The bad shooting teams aren't beating them. It's when you have a couple dudes who, when they're open, they knock it down.
I take that back. That's on the season. In the ACC, my apologies. In ACC play, they are allowing league worst 43.1% in league play in 6 games.
There you go.
They've allowed 78 three-pointers.
There you go.
The next highest team is 63.
I wish I were more surprised by that than I am. I was more surprised when you told me the other number than I was when you told me the real number.
Yeah, that's on the season. My apologies on that one. But yes, in 6 ACC games, 43.1%. That's what North Carolina allows, shooting from behind the arc.
All right.
My confidence when it comes to UNC basketball. My confidence is the fact that on a consistent basis that Vasar and Caleb Wilson, that one of those guys is going to have a great night. The other or both, but at least one is going to have a great night. And that's a nice thing that you can rely on. At least one of those guys is going to have a great night. Now, an average day for like Vasar, it's like, oh, we only had like 15 and 10. That's still a really good night for most guys. But one of those guys is going to have a 20-plus point night on a consistent basis. And that's something you can rely on. It's all right. We might need to score 80 to win this game. We know we can get at least 20 from one of these two guys, if not both.
They're good. And that's also why the backcourt is so frustrating, because you don't want to waste what those guys are putting out every night. Let's quickly get to Duke here before we get to first goal scorer predictions. My concern, shooting. If you just go through, and I do this occasionally for the teams, go to the ACC like team stat rankings and just sort by each stat to see what teams are strong in analytically. They're top 4 at darn near everything in the ACC, but three-point shooting percentage, they're 9th, and free throw percentage, they're 10th. They go to the free throw line a boatload, but they only shoot at the 10th best percentage, which is usually a pretty good sign, indicator of how good of a shooting team you have. So shooting, spacing, those sorts of things are what concern me the most. If there is a concern for a team who's, every net ranking and every ranking has them in the top 2 or 3 in the country.
All right, my concern for Duke, real quick, it's a couple of their freshmen, Nick Himenga and Dambe Sarr. It's not that I'm not questioning their talent or abilities. It's my concern is that they're still trying to figure out what their role is with the team and how they can integrate themselves into the rotation, as well as how they work around guys like Cam Boozer and Caleb Foster and these others, about what their role is, about maybe they're being asked to do something different than what they did in high school and growing up. So it's just, they're still adapting, and it's just, I just don't know when that moment's going to come for them. It might hit soon, but I'm just not entirely sure when. So it's just those guys still figuring out their roles.
Quickly, what's your confidence?
Confidence? It's the fact that it's Cam Boozer. It's plain and simple. It's Cam Boozer.
I really like their defense the last 2 games, so I'm throwing defense in there.
I was about to say, I knew you were probably going to go defense. I was say the fact that their defense can grind teams out.
56 and 50 points allowed on that West Coast swing is pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, their defense will grind you.
That's ACC basketball cons and cons here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We have to work quick because it's now time for first goal scorer predictions. Call in now, Heister Automotive Group hotline, if you want to throw your prediction in the ring. 919-860-5326. Who scores the first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes, and in what period do they score it? 919-860-5326. We need those 2 pieces of information. What player scores, and in what period do they score it to open the scoring for the Canes? While Dennis lines up those calls, and thank you to everybody trying to get through right now, keep calling. I'll give you the 99.9 The Fan personality predictions, that is. Paul Ihander, host of Next Up, weekday mornings 9 to 10, has Taylor Hall in the first. He says even strength. Max, the producer of Next Up, and I just told you on our Pack Therapy podcast, Nikishin in the first, power play, says early first. Adam Gold, Taylor Hall in the first on the power play. Victoria, the producer of Adam's show, Ehlers in the first after the first 10 minutes, although she did say it was between Ehlers and Hall, so it'll probably be Hall because every time she has those either ors, it's always the one she doesn't pick. And Dennis and I will give you ours in a second. But first, let's hear from our listeners. We have Taylor in Holly Springs up first. Taylor, welcome to the show. Who scores the first goal for the Canes and in what period?
I'm going to say it's Andre. He's on a heater right now, so I think we're going to go Andre Svech in the first, coming out of a power play because he will be in the box.
All right, fresh out of the box. All right, I love that. And you're not joking about Svech. He scored in a bunch of games in a row, and he's finishing assists from Aho at a super high rate. So, Taylor, you are locked in. Thank you for making your predictions. Good luck to you. That brings us to Brian in Holly Springs. Brian, welcome back. Go ahead and make your prediction.
Let me have Jarvis in period number 1, and I do believe it's going to be on a power play.
Jarvis in the first on the power play. Locked in. Good luck to you. And as always, call back in anytime. And now we go to David in Durham to round out our listener predictions. David, who scores the first goal for the Canes and in what period?
Nystrom first.
Nystrom. What makes you go with the rookie who's drawn in?
He's due for one. He hasn't had one in a while.
All right. Sometimes that's all you need. Nystrom in the first. Well, Nystrom in the first because he's due.
Yeah, because he hasn't had a goal yet. Still looking for a first of his career.
That's correct. He got his first point, and everybody celebrated. He hasn't had his first goal yet. And, you know, in the lineup for him is a big deal. That he's been kicking around in the AHL, waiting. I don't want to say waiting for an injury, but waiting for an opportunity maybe to get back up here. He really impressed his first stint up with the big league club, and hopefully he can continue to do so. Dennis, we need your first goal scorer prediction. And by the way, everybody else, you can always send it in on our YouTube live stream, 99.9 The Fan. Go to YouTube, find the live stream, search 99.9 for the channel. Go into the comment section directly below, and you can make your predictions there.
My prediction is for Dion.
I just got in a car accident while I was on the phone, but I got Seth Jarvis in the first period.
Yes, Seth Jarvis in the first for Dion. I'm making this prediction until it happens.
Jarvis in the first, if because it's a season-long competition, at least amongst us here on 99.9 The Fan, all the personalities and on-air talent we have. If you're just like purely competitive and want to win, if you just pick like Jarvis in the first every game, you'd probably win the season long. Because we all, try to call our shot and make it more difficult because we're show-offs. But Jarvis in the first, not a bad one. Do you have any other details you'd like to add to it?
No.
All right, Jarvis in the first.
Dion.
He didn't need that. No. If you don't get the reference, it's hilarious. You can follow us on social media. There's a few videos out there explaining it.
No, sorry.
Nah. Are you familiar with the term party wave?
Okay, go on.
Party wave is when you're out surfing or bodyboarding or boogie boarding, whatever it is, body surfing. When there's a wave that everybody's like, we're all riding it and we're all just, it's party wave. I'm making it a party wave today. Paul Ihander went with Hall in the first, host of Next Up. Adam Gold went with Hall in the first, the host of the Adam Gold Show. I'm going with Hall in the first. All three hosts, Hall in the first. And even more so, Paul went even strength.
Okay.
Adam went power play. I'm going shorthanded. No. Got to complete it.
The guy that doesn't kill penalties? All right.
You're darn right.
Even better.
Just because I have to complete the trifecta.
Might as well.
So who's in the
should have gone penalty shot.
Actually, that would have been another way to complete it. Hopefully it's not own goal. I got to pick. I'll put Stahl in the box.
Stahl in the box? All right.
Because I need a way for Aho to get on the penalty kill. So got to just create some chaos there. Go ahead and give me. I mean, my actual prediction is Hall in the first. I mean, I need to get Hull on the penalty kill, which means some chaos needs to happen. Give me Hall in the first, and yeah, I mean, my real prediction. It's a deflection, and it's just something on front of the net. But give me shorthanded to complete the trifecta.
All right, there it is. Our good friend Micah says Svetch stays hot, power play one-timer, I'm assuming first period. Our guy Tim Griffin says Logan is better. Stanky in the first.
That's not bad.
I like it.
There's a lot of history, weird. And by the way, Teuvo Teravainen not expected to play. So not the return that everybody's hoping for. But there's a lot of like weird history with Chicago. There's Logan and Bedard from their junior days. Obviously Hall, right, with the trades that took place, whatever that was, a season ago almost. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. Teuvo involved. There's a lot.
We also have Boris says, I'm going to go with Taylor Hall for the first and third goals in the first period.
Oh, wow. All right. I love details, and I get very excited when we get more than just the player in the period, right? First and third. Welcome to the party wave, though. Everybody that's picking Hall, we're all getting together. We're going to party when it happens. Do you realize how upset Victoria would be if it's Hall? Because she said Ehlers, but it came down to Hall and Ehlers. So she picked Ehlers to know that three of us will get the point if Hall scores, and she will have picked between Hall and Ehlers and went the wrong way with it. She would not be pleased with that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I hope for her sake it doesn't happen. For my sake, I hope it does. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. I use this analogy a lot, but predicting the mortgage market, the interest rate market, it's sometimes as chaotic as predicting something like a first goal scorer prediction. You may think in 6 months rates are going to drop. It's not that easy, And it's better to just be prepared and be happy with whatever happens. And Miller Lending can help you do that, right? Sign up for your mortgage, get your mortgage, lock in your rate, no-cost loan, right? So remove all those pesky surcharges and fees that you have to pay at closing and just roll forward with your rate. If rates go up tomorrow, you feel good because you locked in your rate yesterday and you have it lower than the current rate. If rates go down tomorrow, you still feel good because you can get another monthly payment lowered without any costs and fees. You can hit that refi button, or actually that refi call to call Miller Lending. Matter of fact, if you locked in your rate 2 years ago, a year and a half ago when rates were sky high, you should be calling Miller Lending right now, right? You could lock in a no closing cost you could be locking in a no closing cost refi with Miller Lending and getting a lower monthly payment really with no cost to you. So give them a call. 919-447-3377. There are people here at the office that have used them a bunch of times, and they leave satisfied every single time with a lower monthly payment. Again, 919-447-3377, or visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. It's Feedback Frenzy time. Next.
Finally.
Yes, finally. There's an app for 99.9 The Fan.
Finally!
Listen to your favorite hosts, your teams, and live sports action.
Touchdown, Philadelphia! They are destroying the Chiefs!
And every podcast episode at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today. Powered by Aspire Money Management.
It's the start of something new sales event right now at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Drive home a brand new 2026 Ram 1500 for 20% off. Or pick your financing deal, 0% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. America's best-selling truck comes with a terrific powertrain limited warranty, 10 years or 100,000 miles. Excludes RHO and tungsten. See dealer for details. So get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington today.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Canes Hockey is back. Grab an ice cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Canes. Only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles, so easy to sip and enjoy. It's not a seltzer, it's Surfside. Official hard tea and lemonade of the Carolina Hurricanes. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Just before the first flakes fell, people in North Mecklenburg County prepared to be snowed in for the weekend, but agree a weekend wave of snow will mean less people on the slick roads.
We'll probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
Fat and sassy. Is that what you're going to be doing this weekend, Dennis?
Yeah.
Lose power, get fat and sassy?
Yep.
That's funny. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The
You're
Fan.
not?
Why? I don't know how sassy I'll get. I could get sassy.
Yeah, why not?
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, well, you're in close quarters, family can't leave. If everybody's getting sassy, there's going to be some crossing of signals and some wires getting crossed.
Might have to listen to some football on the Fan this weekend.
Might have to.
In case power goes out.
Actually, that's a good point to bring up real quickly here before we get to a feedback frenzy. If you are concerned about potential power outages this weekend, which many of the meteorologists are telling you to prepare for, if you're going out and grabbing supplies and you don't already have one, a battery-powered radio, a crank radio where you can power it with the old crank, those would ensure that you can stay up to date on your favorite teams, can give you some entertainment in a power outage because 99.9 The Fan will be broadcasting. And that means Sunday football. That means Saturday night hockey. That means a whole bunch of things will be available to you if you do have the FM, old school radio that can be powered in a power outage.
Or stream it through your phone. Stream it through the app. We'll have it there too.
Again, or your car, right? You can always go out into your car and and warm up a little bit if you have that at your disposal during the outage, if there is one. I don't pretend to be an expert, but I do listen to them, and they say to prepare for one coming up here in the area this weekend. With that being said, let's fire into a feedback frenzy.
All right, Tim, we had a conversation yesterday about the Carolina Hurricanes and potential trades and all these kinds of things, about basically how the Carolina Hurricanes won't be reckless at the trade deadline. But when we had spoken and had mentioned about a potential trade that the Carolina Hurricanes had offered with the Vancouver Canucks for Quinn Hughes, the defenseman who's a previous Norris Trophy winner for best defenseman in the NHL, and the name Alexander Nikishin was brought up. This one comes from Hot Tail Edits. Hot Tail says this: Nikishin needs to stay a Hurricane. We need the bigger body. We lack bigger guys, and he adds so much to our team. And also, this one comes from Sear. Sear says, if they move Nikishin, I'm out. It would be an idiotic decision. If Rod had played him earlier in the Panthers series last playoff, maybe they overcome Jalen Chatfield's injury.
All right, a bunch of things to tackle there. One, I don't want to say it'd be a ridiculous take, but it would certainly be a decision to, as your team acquires Quinn Hughes, to, I'm out, I'm done. Like if you like he would be one of the. They're not moving Nikishin for a scrub if they move him. They're probably not moving him at all. But if they do, it'll be for a dude. Secondly, I don't know if he was ready last playoffs to really be a difference maker.
He wasn't.
He does, like, I don't want to say it wouldn't have changed anything, because he does have some just natural, especially offensive ability for a defenseman. So perhaps he stumbles into a couple, 100-mile-an-hour slap shots that change the game. But chances are, like, he was playing in those games, and he wasn't a huge difference maker in that one. They were hiding him in a lot of ways. I'm a huge Nikishin fan. Do not get me wrong, but he's a lot of potential right now. If you can get a sure 100% super duper star, you'd at least have to consider it.
For example, this is what Nicholas Stewart said. Nicholas Stewart said this comment section, it's funny for real. Nikishin was only offered for Quinn Hughes. Yes. He isn't going to be offered for Trocheck, etc. No chance. But also, Stankoven or Blake, I could see getting traded if we want to win, all caps, big, only if you went big. Not a 2C or something. Eric Tolsky has it under control, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a fan favorite make a scenery change.
I wouldn't be surprised to see any one of the fans. I'd be surprised to see, like, if you say Logan Stankoven's going to be traded, I would be like, I would be surprised by that. But if you told me there's a surprising trade, I wouldn't be surprised by it. Like, it's the more specific you get, the more surprised I would be. The Canes have at least not since I've taken over the show. The Canes have never failed to surprise me at the trade deadline. So, at what point is the unexpected what you expect? So obviously Rantanen, whoa, Gensel, holy goodness. Like there's been a few big moves. So, maybe there'll be one this year, and you do have to give up something of meaning to get back something of meaning. Other teams aren't giving away really, really, really good difference makers for free.
All right, we had conversations earlier this week about UNC basketball. Again, pretty rough road trip. This one comes from a lot of people, including Marcus Moore. Hubert Davis needs to go. That's it. That's the comment.
There's a lot of that going around. Here's and maybe I'm old school. I think those are great conversations to have in the offseason. You very rarely, in hockey actually sometimes you do, but you very rarely see a team fire a coach mid-season and get way better and go achieve all their hopes and dreams. So you almost have to ride with them with this core, with this group, and see if he can put it together. You don't want to make a decision that completely eliminates the chance of a special second half by Caleb Wilson and Henry Vesar with enough being put together in the backcourt. depending on how it finishes up, you can have that conversation in the offseason. But deciding like firm and fast and no argument, he's got to go at this point. I just don't see the point in it as much. Even if you believe it, even having those debates in your head seem premature.
All right, so again, there's a little bit of a split, I guess you could say, among fans as well. Because, for example, you have JV America says, fire Hubert, please. It's on him. How are the players that left? How is it that our players that left are doing well now? Look at Cade Tyson. He's balling out. For example, Cade Tyson in Minnesota is scoring nearly 21 points a game. Elliot Cadeau is on fire. It's on Hubert Davis. But you also have some people that are saying, for example, like Delon says, no panic yet. Everyone just needs to stop. And also Jonathan says, Hubert Davis has a 70% win percentage. Stop the panic. They lost 3 road games. It happened under Dean. It happened under Roy. This team will be fine. So again, a little divided here.
It is a tough one to explain. That, like Elliot Cadeau, I can understand, right? Because they played him a ton. Maybe how he's playing at Michigan is because of all the experience he earned at UNC. Cade Tyson is a weird one. He couldn't get off the bench for UNC, and he's scoring 20-something points per game in the Big Ten and shooting it well, and they needed shooting last year. So it's a confusing one, Cade Tyson. And that's a tough one for the coach to explain. As far as it's happened under Roy Williams, it's happened under Dean Smith. This is frustrating to me. It's, when let me pick a quarterback. When J.J. McCarthy has a 2-interception day and everyone's saying, gosh, J.J. has to play well. And then you see Pat Mahomes have a 2-interception day and you're like, just relax. And then Minnesota fans are going, why don't you freak out when Mahomes has a 2-interception day? I'm like, do you expect us to treat the guy who has proven very, very little the same as the guy that has proven everything? Yes, if Roy Williams lost 3 games out of 4, I would not be panicking. That has everything to do with the long and storied career of Roy Williams. Hubert Davis doesn't have that. He doesn't get the benefit of the doubt in the way of guys that have earned the benefit of the doubt get it. That's not to say that by the way, I advocated against the talk about firing Hubert. I'm not saying you go, start the witch hunt, but goodness gracious, do not compare him to guys with multiple national championships. And also, I think we forget how much old coaches did catch heat. Roy Williams had some really tough press conferences in his time at UNC.
Oh, yeah.
It was not
people wanted Roy fired.
It was not, he lost 3 or 4 games. Oh, cool. No, if they lost 3 or 4 games, he would have to be making changes too. We just forget all of that because we just imagine him holding up trophies in his cool plaid jackets.
You have got to be kidding me.
Yeah, they go through it just like everybody else.
All right, final one here. This one came from our YouTube live chat earlier in the show. We had a conversation, or you talked about an NIL agent in college sports that that spoke on condition and anonymity about the current state of college sports. And our friend Boris on YouTube said this: agents, lawyers, bookies, millionaire college athletes, why not just call it minor league sports with a free college tuition benefit?
I don't know why you'd say minor. Call it professional teenage football or something. It's not minor at all. Minor league baseball players, unless they signed a huge signing bonus in the draft, they're riding the bus for $60,000 a year, $30,000 a year, depending on the level. They're not. Quarterbacks are making $5 or more million at many of these big schools. I don't want to call that minor anything. The agents, and I'll make this one more point. Obviously, I was talking to an agent, so consider that, the source. I think there are very much agents who are doing it the right way and agents that are doing it the wrong way out there. And if they can find a way to eliminate the ones that are doing it the wrong way, that would go a long way towards making college football significantly more stable right now. Make them get certified, make them get, make them perhaps have a law degree, make them have, agencies that are all encompassing rather than just a guy. Or a lady. It's the bad agents are doing a lot more harm than good to the sport. And that's how we'll end Feedback Frenzy. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We just ended Feedback Frenzy, and now we'll hear a word from Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here real quick. For Loan Pronto, low mortgage rates, they're back. Here's the thing. Loan Pronto has fixed rate APRs as low as 4.89%. That's right. Fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, the lowest in years. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time, or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get cash out of your equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards and some car loans and cut their monthly expenses by $2,000. Call now and see what options work best for you, but don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks. You may be able to even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal with no hard credit pull. Call 919-381-1760 now. Visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, gets to the starting 5 right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina. It's your Canes and Chicago.
Back to Thompson, they score. He saved it. I thought he saved it. Oh, dear, Bussy.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Luukkonen with the save. Rebound, they score. Seth Jarvis on the power play. Followed his shot and found the back of the net.
On your official audio home of Hurricanes hockey, 99.9 The Fan.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and states so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot. 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. Tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy, a low of 37. We could have some rain Friday, not a lot though, 49 for the high. Saturday, our winter storm begins, likely during the late afternoon and evening hours. This is looking like an ice storm, and you should prepare accordingly.
Weather update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at all your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka, the shark that doesn't bite. 5 o'clock check of your money. The Dow Jones at the closing bell today up 306 points to 49,384.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting five. So let's jump into it, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
At the end of the day,
just wanted to throw a Matt Rule sounder in there.
Yeah, you know, why not?
The first bit of news is probably the most serious. There's weather coming through the area. There's weather coming through what feels like the entirety of the East Coast.
Yeah, like the whole South.
Ice is what I'm like, just ice storms and freezing rain and ice storms is kind of how I've been reading the situation, my extremely amateur opinion. You can go, obviously, WRAL.com, check out the weather. They'll give you more details from much more qualified individuals. But what I can tell you with some certainty is that the threat of a winter storm across parts of the East Coast has changed some schedules for Saturday. Wake Forest and Duke men's basketball had been scheduled for 5:45 on Saturday. That's now been moved up to noon. North Carolina was at Virginia, scheduled for 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. That's been bumped up to noon as well. So there's some moving around of some games, mostly just moving them up, trying to not only have the game played prior to the weather, but also thinking of traveling, returning home and not getting stranded and not having to have buses and planes and everything fighting weather when they shouldn't. So keep your eyes peeled, keep your ears open for more changes to the schedule. Would not be surprised if there are more changes to the schedule based on some of the predictions in the weather world. This weekend is going to be an aggressive one.
By the way, a couple things as well. Not just this weekend, also Monday we are scheduled to have a Canes Corner with Brandon Bussey. The Canes, that's their thing, so it's a decision that the Carolina Hurricanes will have to make if Brandon Bussey's Canes Corner is going to get moved or pushed to a different date. That's also something to keep in mind as well. But also, if you lose power, the Fan's still going to be streaming on your phone, on the app, and if you just have a radio, we're going to have games this weekend. Saturday night Canes game, we're going to have it for you. Sunday NFL, we got it for you.
Canes are at Ottawa on Saturday, so they'll be long gone, hopefully, by the time the weather hits this part of the country.
Yeah, they'll leave tomorrow.
Yeah. And the weather isn't supposed to hit till the weekend, so they'll be out of town, which means, if you need to kill some time in a power outage or something like that, grab your battery-powered radio, gather around like it's the 1950s.
Let's go.
That's put it where your television is, so everything's pointed at it, like you're like it's back in the day, right? And listen to sports and close your eyes, let the theater of the mind take over.
Also,
let Mike Maniscalco and Trip Tracy transform you to like you're there.
Keep this in mind as well. I know people that like to have, I got 4-wheel drive, all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Don't care how big your truck is. It still slides on ice, folks.
I mean, it's
just
a great
letting
point.
You know. It still slides on ice.
I don't want to act like, I know more than anybody else, but you and I both lived in some very cold climates.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, those people from very cold climates that get more ice and more snow and it's colder and all that do kind of poke fun at those Southerners don't know how to drive. But also, I've never seen people respect like a icy road more than the people that grew up around them because they've seen the impact. So you don't think you're not tougher than a sheet of ice is a good way to put it, right? You're not smarter than a snowbank. Mm-hmm. Like you can slide. I don't know if I've told this story on air yet, or at least not here. I was in Nebraska early in my career. A company car driving to state volleyball where I was going to call 5,000 volleyball games, play-by-play. Just me in a little Volvo cranking across the state. And my GPS took me a little like off the highway because there were some obvious pileups due to weather on the highway. And suddenly I was on a back road, and the back road bent, just like a nice slow curve. And at some point, I hit some ice and the road curved, and I didn't. Went right through a pasture fence, had absolutely no control. A bunch of horses there scattered. And I'm sliding through a big old field. Finally came to a halt like a couple 100 yards in a horse farm. There was a ravine not that far away. Like, it was pretty scary. Got out. Again, car was all jacked up because I'd slid through barbed wire. It was like a scary deal. Called my boss. They sent somebody out there to come get me. Drove me to the games, kept doing it, and they had to sit there, and somebody else sat there and waited for the car to get fixed. You could drive it out, but it was pretty banged up. And you want to know what's the most Nebraska part of the story?
What's that?
So it was one of the sales ladies came to pick me up because she was actually on her way to her daughter's game later that night, and her husband was there. Her husband helped put the fence back up for the guys that we took it out because they're just all ranchers. And he, was like, I'll help you put it up. They re-put the fence post, strung back up some more barbed wire. Didn't want the horses getting out, and very cold. But it was scary. And I was, at that point in time, very accustomed to driving through small towns with a ton of ice and a ton of snow. And there's no way to fight it once your car loses its grip. So pay attention out there, drive safe, don't end up in a horse farm.
And if you're fishtailing to the right, turn your car to the right.
Into the skid.
Yeah, exactly. Turn into the skid. Don't overturn, though. Don't, panic. And also don't jam your brakes.
Yeah. I'd say it's hard to think calmly in those situations. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
North Carolina, meaning UNC, University of North Carolina, Chancellor Lee Roberts has been named to the College Football Playoff's Board of Managers. Now, before you think, perfect, he can juice the vote and get all the ACC teams in the CFP, this is not the selection committee. This is the Board of Managers. The 11-member board oversees college football playoff governance, including leadership decisions and budget approval. So he's actually he's the big boss, not just that little group that decides who gets in. They decide everything. Obviously, there were announcements from the ACC, from UNC, media availability with this announcement. He's replacing, I believe, the Clemson president. He says, meaning Lee Roberts said, playoff expansion was the hot topic at his first meeting. I don't want to be in those meetings. There are certain meetings I'm like, I could help there. Playoff expansion, I don't know if there's a right answer there. I think there's better ways to do it than 12 with the buys and the seeding that they do. But college football is so popular right now. And you can say, oh, no, everybody's leaving because of NIL and transfer portal. It's not true. More people are watching. It's so popular right now that everybody has had the debates like we have about what you think the college football playoff should look like. It should be 8. It should be 25. It should be 24 with buys. It should be conference champions and group of 5, this and that. And because of that, making the decision is just going to make so many people unhappy. You might be lucky and hit the exact situation that 25% of the people want. If you go to 16, 25% might want that, but that means 75 think you're doing a terrible job. Those boards have a no-win situation. So good luck, Chancellor Lee Roberts. Have fun. Do your best. I'm sure you'll be criticized. Comes with the job. What number is that? 4? Let's get to number 3.
Quickly to the line. Here's the snap. Mensah to throw. Oh, he's got his man on the right. Guess who? It's Barkate for the touchdown.
Cooper Barkate into the transfer portal. Wide receiver from Duke, a player that had announced he was staying at Duke. Obviously, the Darian Mensah situation, him hitting the portal, changed the math for Cooper Barkate. I don't know if you... I don't blame Cooper Barkate for this nearly as much as I blamed Darian Mensah. And I had a long conversation actually with our big boss here, Brian Gruby, today. He stopped by and I was explaining, and we were talking and hearing each other's opinions on this. I do think the Darian Mensah handling, like his decision making, it's really rubbing me the wrong way the more and more situations that play out. And it's because he signed the multi-year deal. There's nothing that says he had to. There's nothing that says he had to agree to the terms, but he did. And because of that, a lot of people are going to be messed over pretty good here, right? I think a lot of people for Duke chose to return to Duke because Darian Mensah had said he was coming back to Duke. And those are the ones, like those are the players that were alongside him, right? Those were the ones that were putting their body on the line to protect him or to make him successful this past year. The ones that turned him into a player that Miami or whoever he signs with out of the portal want. And obviously Cooper Barkate was a part of that. So if Mensah left and Barkate was decisive enough to put his name in the portal after the Mensah news became public and before the portal closed at midnight on Friday, I have a hard time blaming him for that. Because, you know, he does have to look out for him, and he did commit back to Duke under pretenses that weren't true anymore. I don't want to sound defeated, right? Because as you just heard me say not long ago, college football is still wildly popular. I still will watch every Saturday. But this feels very, very wrong. That Duke is in the situation they are in, despite appearing to have done a lot correct here, right? And honorable. I don't like all the provisions in the contract, but if Mensah isn't honoring it, then maybe they were right to try to safeguard themselves within it. It's a really, really tough thing where there's some part of my instinct that says go get as much money as you possibly can and you know, the rest of the people be darned because you only get to be a college athlete once and your earning window might be very small. But there's also a part of me saying if you sign a $9 million, $8 million contract over 2 years, I'm not going to feel bad to criticize you for not living up to that because you were getting life-changing money. It's tough. Duke's going to have to scramble, and who knows where they end up in the portal. If they grab a quarterback out of the portal, who knows how they feel about the players already on their roster. But it does seem like there should be guardrails, there should be rules to stop this. And I don't know if there's a path to putting them in, especially not with any kind of speed. Maybe 10 years from now there'll be guardrails, but by then people will have already lost their jobs over this kind of thing. I wish I had more answers. I don't like just being a problem guy. I like being a solutions guy, but I think there's a lot of problems with very little solutions right now in college football. It's number 3. How about number 2?
Just the two of us. Pacers, Caleb Wilson takes the ball away from Serta, and here we go. There's the highlight from Wilson. Cocks it back and throws it down.
UNC men's basketball beat Notre Dame last night, 91-69. I do want to emphasize Notre Dame is not the big bad bully in the ACC, so you do have to take, level of competition into account. But with that being said, UNC needed that game. They needed that game. They needed that game for allowing themselves to change some things up, right? They played a different backcourt. Derek Dixon seems to be taking over more of a prominent role in that backcourt. They tried Jaden Young. They've gave Jonathan Powell more minutes. At one point, and I think this is a good way to describe it. Let me go ahead and find the exact tweet. Brian Murphy noted this, WRAL sports investigative reporter. At the end of a blowout, there's a little bit of distortion of minutes and rotation and things because, you get guys off the bench, you get your starters a little bit extra rest. But against Cal, which was the second part of that West Coast swing for UNC, Kyan Evans played a season-low 10 minutes. This was in the second half against Notre Dame. He had played 4 minutes. Again, got in kind of late, and they played some different rotations, but he was on pace to have his 2 lowest minutes games back-to-back. Jaron Stevenson, same thing. Against Cal, he played a season-low 11 minutes, and at this point in the second half, before the blowout kind of changed things up, he was at 7 minutes played. That shows that Hubert Davis is trying something new, right? And, you might say it took too long and there should have been adjustments being made. By the way, I don't know if those will stick, right? Maybe Jaron Stevenson will start playing more. Maybe Kyan Evans will start playing more again because, you try something else and it doesn't work, so you go back to what you were doing and you adjust something else. But the perimeter, the guards, the backcourt for UNC needs to play a lot better than they've been playing, and that includes against Notre Dame. The reason why I look at it as optimistic against Notre Dame is because different guys were in the mix, and I would expect a player to improve more as they get their first minutes than somebody who's played like 15 games already with big minutes. I would expect them to improve less, right, from games 15 to 20 than I would somebody who didn't play in the first 14 and plays for the first time from 15 to 20. So maybe Derek Dixon, the more he plays, the more he settles in, the more he becomes the perimeter player that can give enough production. I'm not asking for elite production. I'm just asking for enough production to take advantage of what UNC continues to have in Caleb Wilson and Henry Vesar, which are 2 of the best players in the conference. And it was proven again. Caleb Wilson had another 20-point night. That puts him at 13 20-plus outings, which is second by a freshman in UNC history behind only Tyler Hansbrough. And, by the way, he only had 14. So the next one Wilson has, assuming he has at least one more, will tie him with the legend Hansbrough. Henry Vesar, another double-double. I wouldn't even say it was one of his best games. Smooth double-double. It's a good place to have a not great game. So there's I said it yesterday before the game. I think the panic button was sounded by UNC. That doesn't mean the season's over. That means all hands on deck, be willing to go to the extremes to fix it. And I do think I felt enough of that urgency against Notre Dame to be optimistic moving forward. And with that, right, it's so funny. I don't actually just listen to the audio first. Hubert Davis after the game talked about the role Caleb Wilson as a freshman plays as a driving force during their practices.
Somebody that stepped up dramatically in that space in leadership was Caleb. I mean, he's last couple days, and including tonight, he's one of the guys that was more vocal in practice, more vocal. Right before we went out for warm-ups for the game, I said my last words before we went out to the floor. He said, "Coach, can I say something?" And he went after the team. He said, let's go out there and compete. He's never done that before.
That's awesome. That's very good. Go for it. I do think it's the anecdotes like that coming out after a win. It's great, right? The anecdotes after a loss. I'd much rather talk about what happened on the court in games that we can corroborate. And that, no disrespect to Caleb Wilson. I by the way, I love his energy. I think he is an emotional driving force for the team. I've said that from their very first games in the Dean Dome, where he was flexing at midcourt and really driving all of that. But right, the I don't know, difference in vibes after the game. I like to talk more on the nose things, more proven that I can verify myself things. As number 2. Let's hit number 1.
The one! Stahl wins it. Whipped across. Luukkonen with the save. Rebound. They score! Seth Jarvis on the power play. Followed his shot and found the back of the net. And the Canes, 7 seconds on the man advantage, have taken the 2-1 lead.
The Carolina Hurricanes play tonight at 7 against Chicago at home. It is a pretty important game for the Canes. Chicago is not the best team in the league. There are 6 teams under 500 this year in the NHL, and Chicago is one of them. So, you can take with that what you will. Obviously, the draw when you're playing Chicago for fans is Bedard and his dazzling abilities. And that's also a challenge for the Canes, right? He's a pretty good player. He's over 1.3 points per game, and he brings a certain level of pizzazz to that team. But as a unit, they haven't been able to really find too many wins this year. To update you on the nuts and bolts of it, Rod Brindamore says Eric Robinson with the upper body injury will be, quote, out for an extended period.
Mm-hmm.
Not good news there, but it is what it is what Rod Brindamore said. It is what it is.
Yep.
You know what's also true about stuff that is what it is? It's not what it's not.
Okay.
Think about that.
There's that.
No Shane Gostisbehere. This was yesterday at practice, lower body injury, or Noah Philp, who's dealing with upper body injury either. So you would expect Nystrom to draw in for on the blue line if he is called upon.
Rod did say about 30 minutes ago that no lineup changes anticipated tonight, so don't expect Gostisbehere. Nystrom will be in. Kokaniemi will be in for Eric Robinson. Freddie Anderson will start in net.
Okay, Freddie Anderson in net. Let's go, Freddie. Make it happen, Captain. Obviously, that means Brandon Bussey not in net, and people get excited when Bussey does things. They play on Saturday next against Ottawa on the road, so that would be where the next chance to see some of those guys. Dennis, before we move on, I got to put you on the spot.
Ah, yes.
The question of the day.
Okay.
The Carolina Hurricanes will win the game if blank, a.k.a. our if-then statement. If blank happens, then the Carolina Hurricanes win the game.
If Connor Bedard has less than 2 points, Canes win.
Less than 2. So you'll give him 1.
Yeah, I'll give him 1.
You'll give him 1.
I'll give him 1. He's that good of a player.
I mean, 1 would be below his average.
It would be.
So there you go. By the way, Teuvo Teravainen not expected to play in this one, although, I know he still has his fans. A lot of Teuvo jerseys kicking around, Canes jerseys, even when they're not playing against Chicago. So I know that people would have liked to have seen him, but I don't expect him. I don't know if it's been made official there, but read an article this morning from the Chicago side of things that did not expect Teuvo Teravainen. Got to hold him to. I think you could give him 2. If the goal scores, if Svech is scoring like Svech is scoring, I think you can give Bedard 2. But 2 points, that is, not goals. We'll see how it goes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Actually, in hockey, a lot of times, some fine jewelry, some fine wristwear, I should say, a luxury timepiece is the cost of, taking somebody's jersey number, right? Big money guy shows up, somebody else is wearing the jersey he wants to wear, the number. I'll give you a Rolex. Well, how about this? You could wear what the pros wear, or at least what the pros wear after they sold their jersey number. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry, where they have inside the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop at the Bailey's Fine Jewelry in the Village District in Raleigh, Fox and Bailey Watch Shop inside. You can go in there and check out the largest pre-owned and vintage Rolex selection in the state. That's right. And all of the ones you're looking for, the Explorers, the Daytonas. Matter of fact, what you should do, the GMTs, what you should do is go ahead and follow them on Instagram right now at Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, because when you're talking pre-owned and vintage, right, when you're talking some of the classics, some of the really hard-to-find watches, they're not going to be there long, right? They get their hands on a pre-owned or vintage, rare Daytona. They're going to put it up on their Instagram, and you'll be one of the first to know it. And you could jump in the DMs, get to talking about price and availability and how quickly you have to make it down there, and get on wait lists for certain Grail watches that you're waiting on. So I encourage you to follow them on Instagram. Fox and Bailey Watch Shop is the handle. And then you'll be a bit more up to date on their selection in the pre-owned and vintage world. The only way to know exactly what they have is to go check them out. Drive out there in person. Village District in Raleigh, Bailey's Fine Jewelry, all the way to the right, Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. Let them know when you stop in that you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. We'll take a break. Oh, wait a second. We need numbers game contestants. Can't play the numbers game without the contestants. We have tickets to see Pitbull with Lil Jon. What? I said Lil Jon, at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on May 19th. If you want to play, you got to call in now. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Pitbull with Lil Jon and also your chance to win the numbers game. Call in now. Numbers game next.
Listen for the oh my goodness.
Sears pulls up left wing 3. Ring it up. A dagger. A dagger by Sears.
They got postered.
Rebound battled for. Picked down Badunga. Rejected emphatically by Coleman Hawkins.
One in the what?
Maddox for Xavier. He'll throw a bounce pass in the lane for a two-handed jam.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9 The Fan.
What's this?
We're expanding the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club.
That's a pretty big wrecking ball.
Well, with all these new scratch-offs, this place is going to be packed with new winners. Okay, let's go ahead and knock this wall down. This is where we're putting the polo field. Whoa, patience, Trixie.
This month's tickets are loaded with $90 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.35 to 4.68. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hey, it's Amanda here, and I'm back again with Coach Pete. Coach, I was embarrassed, I'm going to be honest, to start working with you because I don't know anything about the financial world. I don't know what these terms mean, but you brought it down to a level that I could understand. And not in a mean way, just in a, hey, this is what I do for a living. Let me explain this to you so that you can understand it and help, me invest my money.
Well, if you don't understand what someone's talking about, you're really not going to understand what they mean.
Yeah.
And so you shouldn't need a dictionary to define what they're doing. I've tried to dumb it down. It's a term it's used sometimes in a bad way, but dumbing it down is a good way. Let's make it easy to understand.
Amen.
So we take the financial world, we run it through the computer systems, my head, and we come out with some easy ways to understand the complex matters that are explained. And many times some of the advisors try to make it complex to talk over your head. We're going to put it in your terms. We're going to make a plan for you. If you call right now, you'll understand exactly what you have.
919-794-7900. 919-794-7900.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. We have competing today Dave in Fuquay-Varina and Matthew in Raleigh. They'll be battling it out with jersey number trivia for tickets to see Pitbull with Lil Jon here at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on May 19th. As always, we'll bring them each onto the show, ask them an identical question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. We'll start with Dave in Fuquay-Varina. Dave, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. We'll go with this one. And actually, this is a conversation that had bounced around the office a little bit here. If you lose power over the weekend or at any point in time, and you have, the forethought to download something to watch to your phone, right? Because you have a bunch of extra batteries, so your phone can be charged, and so you can watch, a movie, a television show, something that you download to your phone in order to pass the time in a power outage where it might just be you and your little screen for a day at a time. What are you downloading? What movie? What television show? What series? What are you binging?
I guess because it's going to be cold, Game of Thrones, I'll do that one.
All right, Game of Thrones. Dennis, any follow-ups?
No, sir.
All right, we move towards Matthew and Raleigh. Matthew, can you hear me? Matthew, are you there?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Same question to you. If you are anticipating a power outage, you have all your extra batteries to charge your phone ready, so you can spend the entire power outage binging on your phone, but you got to download them, right? Because you're not going to have internet. What are you downloading? What movie? What television show? What bit of content?
I'll be downloading The Office because you get some good laughs in times of boredom.
All right. Dennis, any follow-ups? He looks ready. So appreciate the answer, Matthew. I'd say these are pretty, probably top seeds if you're putting a bracket together for the public. Dave would download Game of Thrones. Matthew would download The Office. Which one are you rolling with, Dennis?
This is tough because I enjoy both shows thoroughly. Probably my favorite show of all time is The Office. So I'll probably go with The Office on this one. I'll go with Matthew.
Yeah, I'd say if it's your favorite show of all time, you probably should.
But don't get me wrong, love both shows. Absolutely love both.
Actually, do you know what is surprising about these two shows? These are the two shows that I am most contrarian about.
Oh, okay.
These are the two most universally loved shows that I can't get into. And everybody looks at me like I have 17 arms when I say it. But I tried Game of Thrones. I watched 12 episodes of Game of Thrones, couldn't get into it because everybody kept telling me the next episode was the one that was going to catch me. So I went into season 2 going when is it going to get me? Never did. In The Office, I can talk theories later, but it's just not my cup of tea. But that means Matthew gets to go first. Matthew, are you ready to pick a category?
I'm ready.
All right. NFL players, Panthers throughout history is one category. NFL players, okay, which means all of their names begin with K. NBA players that were born south of the equator, or NHL Hurricanes only?
I'll do NHL Hurricanes only.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There'll be 30 seconds on the clock for you to answer. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Taylor Hall, Carolina Hurricanes.
71.
Correct. Noah Philp, Carolina Hurricanes.
15.
Correct. Mike Zigomanis, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Andrew Polturalski, Carolina Hurricanes.
24.
Incorrect. Michael Layton, Carolina Hurricanes.
35.
Incorrect. Mike Zigomanis, Carolina Hurricanes.
32.
Incorrect. Andrew Polturalski, Carolina Hurricanes.
18. Oh, that was a tough one.
18 would have been right for Zigomanis. We would have accepted 18 or 46 for him. Poturalski, we needed 57, and Layton, we would have accepted 32 or 49. But you did get two guys that are currently on the roster. You got Hall, you got Philp, so 2 is the number to beat. We'll leave you on hold and get to our next contestant. That is Dave in Fuquay Arena. Dave, are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, the categories for you to choose from are NFL Panthers throughout history, NFL OK, all players whose first name begin with the letter K, or NBA players born south of the equator.
Let's do K NFL players.
All right, all players whose first names start with the letter K. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. You need at least 3 for the win. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons.
8.
Incorrect. Kareem Hunt, Kansas City Chiefs.
24.
Incorrect. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons.
18.
Correct. Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals.
8.
Incorrect. Kareem Hunt, Kansas City Chiefs.
26.
Incorrect. Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals.
7.
Incorrect. Kareem Hunt, Kansas City Chiefs.
23.
Incorrect. Kyler Murray. You worked hard, and you were getting kind of in the neighborhood of both correct answers. You got Cousins with 18. Kareem Hunt, we would have accepted 27 or 29. He's worn both. You were all over the 20s, just not the right numbers. And Kyler Murray wears number 1 with the Cardinals. So 7 I always consider close to 1 because they kind of look the same. Unfortunately, 1 not enough for the win, but hopefully you had some fun.
Thank you.
All right. That means the winner is Matthew in Raleigh. Matthew, congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Can you give us like a good Lil Jon okay?
I don't know about that, but I can give you a yeah.
All right. Yeah. I like it. Go ahead and stay on the line. Dennis will get the info he needs to make sure you get your prize. By the way, I did realize that after I was really poorly pronouncing the category, that the okay should have been okay.
I feel like Paul set you up for that.
Yeah, no, he did. I dropped the ball. I'm a wide receiver right now looking at my hands like it's their fault. It was all me. By the way, speaking of the NFL And speaking of Paul, he sent us some news here from the NFL while that was going on. Jesse Minter, new Baltimore coach, is what he sends. So I believe that means Jesse Minter has taken over as the head coach, or had been named, according to reports, the head coach of the Ravens, which is obviously one of the more actually right here, 14 minutes ago, the Ravens have put it out. Your next coach of the Baltimore Ravens, they've agreed 2 terms with Jesse Minter to be the head coach of the Ravens. There you go. He had been the Chargers defensive coordinator, and he was a part of the defensive coaching staff with the Ravens from 2017 to 2020. And now he is back on the staff, leading the staff, I should say, for the Baltimore Ravens. He had been a defensive assistant and the assistant defensive backs coach and the defensive backs coach. So he rose through the ranks there slowly from 2017 to 2020. Also spent some time at the college level as the defensive coordinator at Vanderbilt and Michigan before jumping up to being the defensive coordinator with the Chargers. Oh, I see what's going on here as I connect some dots. This is one of the Harbaugh guys. I wonder if that's... Speaking of, right, Dave saying he was going to download Game of Thrones. I wonder if this is like going against your house in Game of Thrones. This is a guy who spent 2017 to 2020 on John Harbaugh's staff with the Ravens, spent a year at Vanderbilt, but then ends up as the Michigan defensive coordinator. That's Jim Harbaugh's staff. Then Jim Harbaugh brings him to the Los Angeles Chargers as defensive coordinator. So he's been, since 2017, outside of 1 year at Vanderbilt, he's been on a Harbaugh's staff. Now he is taking the Baltimore Ravens head coaching job that they just fired John Harbaugh. I wonder if this isn't I can't even go, I don't like Game of Thrones, so I can't go that far into is this a Red Wedding? Is this a Ned Stark happening here where a Littlefinger? I'm just throwing out names.
All right.
Is this a situation where somebody is going against the family that brought him this far? He's a good coach, though. At least the Chargers' defenses have been pretty solid, and obviously at Michigan, they had some success in the 2022 to 2023 year bracket.
Talking about a come up for some of these former college coaches.
Yeah,
Jeff Hafley, the head coach now of the.
Well, this one he is a recent college coach, but he was a NFL coach prior to that, and he's really just a Harbaugh coach.
Very true.
And now he's taking a Harbaugh spot. That is wild to me. Not saying it's a bad hire, and not saying he shouldn't do what's best for him, but we get mad at a lot of people, a lot of players. We get mad at when they're not loyal. Should we hold the same standard for coaches?
Nah, you got a promotion.
Yeah, but his guy, if the Ravens would, I would imagine the Ravens are more of the attractive hire. One of the more attractive locations this hiring cycle. If you get the Ravens job, you could probably get the Browns job, right? If you get the Ravens job, you could just name your price in Vegas.
But do you want that?
I don't know.
Exactly. No, you don't.
This is one of those things that I am 100% admitting. I like to think I would be loyal in a situation like this, but if you put the opportunities in front of me, who knows how you react, right? I'd like to think like if I owe my career to a particular group that I wouldn't kind of upend them, but you put the money and you put the opportunity to coach a 2-time MVP at quarterback in front of me, I might go like, hopefully you'll forgive me, Harbaughs. Let me sign. I don't know if your kids ever want to coach, I'll put them on staff, pay it forward type thing. But I'm gonna go coach Lamar. That's a tough one there.
So you weren't a Game of Thrones fan?
No. I'd spent 12 hours of my life watching a show that everybody promised me was going to get better. Because I watched the first episode because it was the cool thing, and I went, not my thing. And people said, well, the first episode, it's slow. You gotta watch. So I watched like 4 more. And I was like, it's not my cup of tea. Everybody said, the second season is where it picks up. So I watched 2 episodes into the second season before I went, I just wasted half of a full day. I wasted 12 hours on a show that I don't enjoy.
I respect the fact that you gave it a true shot. You gave it a true shot. I respect that. Hey, you know what? You got into the second season, still not for you. That's okay. I respect that.
And there were people that I'm very picky about shows and movies and stuff that I watch. There's a small circle of people that I trust very explicitly with their opinions on stuff, and they were 100% co-signing for this show, and I cannot be more out.
I binged the Game of Thrones. So this is back when I was coaching. I had just resigned from my last coaching job.
Okay.
And I had just had some time off, summer and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know what? Just gonna take some time. And a buddy of mine gave me his HBO back then it was HBO Go. So this is 2014. So I had an iPad, sitting there eating breakfast. I was like, all right, let me check out this Game of Thrones everyone's telling about. Watch the first episode and eat breakfast. Before you know it, I'm like, I'm hungry again. I watched 5 episodes. It's noon or something like that. So I did like a little workout. I rode my bike alongside Lake Michigan and all that. Came back, finished the rest of the first season that day, went to bed, did the exact same thing with season 2 the next day. Next day, season 3, the exact same thing. Next day, season 4, I get all the way through the 8th episode and I had caught up on the entire thing.
Goodness gracious.
And I was like, this is amazing.
That's how most people react to that show.
That's true binge watch.
My electrons aren't connecting the same way.
That's fine. Hey, it's not for everybody.
But because I watched 12 episodes, I do know just enough to stupidly reference random names and not connect at all. So, little finger. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis has something he wants to tell you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my friends over at Law Tigers. Something that you might enjoy. I know it's not everybody, but I know a lot of people like myself enjoy riding a motorcycle. But I know some people might enjoy it even further if they're riding a motorcycle of their favorite hockey team. And this is where Law Tigers comes in. The Law Tigers are teaming up once again, with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. That's right, a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. The date to enter, it's March 29th. You got plenty of time, but why wait? Why wait till then? Go to caniacsbike.com right now. Again, caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. The bike will be given away live on the ice April 4th at the game and includes tickets and a catered suite. That in and of itself is pretty awesome, folks. Again, caniacsbike.com for your chance to enter to win this Canes Ducati motorcycle. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will discuss the rightful winner of out of the nominees for the Offensive Rookie of the Year, Tetairoa McMillan. Coming up next.
Move your sports day forward.
The goal for the Carolina Hurricanes in the remaining games before the Olympic break, simple. Replenish those reverse Uno cards. The tilting the ice and playing catch-up from allowing early goals or silly penalties needs to stop in the third period. Put the hammer down early. And please, 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 don't let Stanky or Jarvie go a game without a single shot.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Get in on the Start Something New sales event right now at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Save over $11,000 on a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee, or take up to $15,000 off a new Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, trail rated and ready. And don't miss your chance to test drive the all-new 2026 Jeep Cherokee, Grand Cherokee, and the luxurious new Jeep Grand Wagoneer. See dealer for details. Get off your keister and hurry to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
Canes hockey is back. Grab an ice cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Canes. Only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles, so easy to sip and enjoy. It's not a seltzer, it's Surfside. Official hard tea and lemonade of the Carolina Hurricanes. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture. And then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Here's the snap. Here's the blitz. Young throws deep down the left side. He wants McMillan. Makes the catch. Touchdown! Tetairoa McMillan with 7 seconds to go in the first half. And Carolina takes the lead at 12-10.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The NFL Honors Awards put out their finalists. Needless to say, no MVP or Offensive Player of the Year candidates or Coach of the Year candidates or anything from the Panthers. But that doesn't mean they were shut out. Offensive Rookie of the Year finalist, Tetairoa McMillan. He's joined by Jackson Dart, Travion Henderson, Emeka Egbuka, and Tyler Shuck. Those are the 5 that are the finalists for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. I haven't checked the betting odds, but I would bet, if I could bet on what the betting odds are, Tetairoa McMillan's the favorite. I think he's that good. I think it's that obvious. I think people respect it. I think the final game, which put him over 1,000 yards, and I think the playoffs all kind of add up into it. I don't know when the voting took place. Maybe the playoffs don't count. McMillan should be the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, playoffs don't count. I think you actually had to have votes in by the end of the regular season.
There you go. So even just looking at the last game that put him up over 1,000 yards, I think that's important. For whatever reason, it's pretty arbitrary, but going from 3 figures to 4 figures in your receiving total, and people get really excited about that. But it's not just the stats, right? If I were to and nobody has, but maybe one day, if somebody were to name me like the campaign manager for McMillan's Rookie of the Year campaign, my tagline would be, it's not just the stats, right? Because the stats are impressive. I don't need to tell people about that. We already know that he led rookies in receiving yards. We already know that he led them in all of these things. It's not just the stats, though. It's the stats and the situation. The Panthers had the 7th lowest passing volume in the NFL. 7th lowest. Only the Raiders and Titans threw for less yards and didn't have a major injury at quarterback, or have a major injury might be the wrong term, but have a backup play a significant amount of games. Only the Raiders and Titans threw for less yards than the Panthers and didn't have that happen. So the passing offense was not spectacular. At times it was efficient, but it was never spectacular outside of one random game where they broke the single-game passing record against the Falcons. And McMillan still had the stats that he had, right? It is the combination of the production and the environment in which he produced. It is one thing to go to, quite frankly, Tampa Bay, where Emeka Egbuka went. And you have Baker Mayfield, who the last handful of years has been throwing for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, and he's been slinging it. And also found themselves behind in a bunch of games and had to sling their way back into it. Even the games they won were come from behind variety. So you have a great passing offense. Oh, by the way, the number 1 wide receiver was hurt for most of the year, and the number 2 wide receiver was coming off an injury and wasn't all the way there. Oh, sure, Emeka Egbuka produced. His situation boosted his production. McMillan's situation held down his production. That's not to say he was perfect. I know he dropped some passes. I know he made some rookie mistakes. I'm not absolving him of those, but I'm saying he had to, at times, run with ankle weights. There were things outside of his control holding them back, and he still performed the way he did. And the other thing I want to point out is this. I'm going to hope Dennis gets this right because I think he will. What's the most important ability?
Availability.
There you go. Jackson Dart, Travion Henderson, Emeka Egbuka, Tyler Shuck are the other finalists. Now, they didn't all get hurt, but he's the only one that contributed to a full season. Jackson Dart got hurt a bunch. Travion Henderson was nailed to the bench at the beginning of the season and at times had extremely low production. Emeka Egbuka was hurt in the middle of the season, and go look at his first half to second half. Not even close, right? Did not have any form of consistency contributing to a full season. And Tyler Shuck, I think he started 10 games or appeared in 10 games. Did play well, don't get me wrong. Much better than I thought he would once he took over from the Snake, the Rattler. But McMillan was depended upon by the Panthers every game this year. Every game expected to be a key cog in the offense. And guess what? There were weeks where he was questionable, right? There were weeks where the foot wasn't feeling great. There were weeks where, he probably was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but he had to go out there and perform to the best of his ability because the team had no other real options. That's it. That's a heck of a full encapsulated context, nuanced look at how you end up leading all rookies and having 1,000 yards and having these catches and having the touchdowns. And by the way, catching key touchdowns, right? Maybe you only have one catch in a game, but it's for 43 yards and a touchdown. That helps seal it. And then my third point, it's not just the stats. Watch the games, right? Sometimes you just got to watch. And it's funny because, we watch every single Panther game, every play. I watch them like broadcast variety, and then I usually end up watching every play also from the All-22, which is like the coach's film. I really enjoy when people whose football opinions I trust catch a Panther game, right? They maybe they're fans of another team, maybe they cover another team, maybe they whatever, coach, whatever. When they're like, goodness, I caught that Panther game the other day. Almost exclusively. Outside of the little run by Rico Dowdle, in which case everybody went, Rico, goodness. Outside of that, almost exclusively the reaction was, T-Mac's legit, huh? Like, hey, caught that Panther game the other day. Hadn't seen him this year. T-Mac's legit, huh? And even if he didn't have his best production game, right? They all aren't the 2-touchdown games. A lot of them, it was just how he got open, how physical he was, what his speed and cutting ability looks like when you're watching. All of that says he's the offensive rookie of the year. And if he's not, the voting is flawed. That's where I'm standing at right now, saying it ahead of time. I think he will be. I think they'll get it right. And if he's not, they got it wrong. I hope they don't do the quarterback thing or the New York thing and just give it to Jackson Dart because he and Scadaboo bashing their heads against the wall. Tetairoa McMillan was the best offensive rookie this season.
And like you said, consistently throughout the entire year. Tyler Shuck only played half the season.
And like Travion Henderson, maybe if he went to Cleveland, right, and was able to get all the carries that Quinshon Judkins got, his old teammate, maybe he would have done better. Who knows? Tetairoa McMillan may have done better if he went elsewhere too, right? What we know is the facts. And the facts are, throw the film on, he was the best rookie. And I'm not making this argument just because, hey, I want him to have a trophy. I'm making this argument because I think it matters for the Panthers. I think it matters for the franchise. I think it matters for the front office, right? You picked 8th. You picked the rookie of the year. So that's a feather in the cap of your front office, and it builds confidence and it builds faith, right? They're gonna help us out, right? It builds faith in their draft process. It builds faith in their scouts. Also, you're looking for reasons for people to want to play here.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some holes to fill in the roster, and free agency is going to be one of those avenues. And guys that are rookie of the year, guys that have a little bit of buzz, they draw people. Like, oh yeah, I'd want to go there and be, if you're entertaining a number 3 wide receiver or something in free agency, I'd want to go there. Because I know I'm going to get open because Tetairoa McMillan is the rookie of the year and he's going to draw a ton of attention. So he should win. I hope he does. I hope he, wears the lei, and he's got the Polynesian vibes as he goes up there on stage and accepts his award at the NFL Honors, and then he shouts out the Panthers. That's what I hope for.
By the way, heck of a rookie class this year.
For the
This
Panthers
past
or
season
for
the
overall?
Panthers?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Blessed. I mean, they have their misses, this front office, but they also have some good ones.
Oh, yeah.
And that's as long as you're getting the good ones, like good, you'll put up with the misses. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We may talk about the rookie class later on in the week or next week. But with that, we have no time to do it now because we got to pass you off to Overdrive, where you'll hear about some UNC basketball talk. Continue to make plans for the weather this weekend. Everybody stay safe. Load up on the things you need. We'll see you tomorrow to round out the week and send you into the weekend the right way. Until then, have a great night, everybody.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina. It's your Canes and Chicago.
Back to Thompson, they score.
He saved it. I thought he saved it.
Oh, dear, Bussy.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Luukkonen with the save. Rebound, they score. Seth Jarvis on the power play. Followed his shot and found the back of the net.
On your official audio home of Hurricanes